just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback.
Pepper lady.
I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide, based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Texas is known for a lot of great things, but it's also known for unstable soil, so it's not uncommon to have foundation trouble. Shift happens. Half of all Texas homeowners have foundation issues, but the good news is that PermaPure Foundation Repair can help solve your problem. PermaPure has been in business since 1992 and has more than 30,000 successful stabilizations. Go to permapure.com to see samples of their work and learn the signs you should be looking for at your house, such as cracks in your walls, around doors and windows, and doors that don't shut properly. PermaPure is so anxious to help, they'll come to your house for a free inspection. Just call them at 877-959-2766. That's 877-959-2766. They'll tell you what you can do to fix your foundation, and often it's not as big a problem as you might think. But if you ignore it, it'll just get worse. PermaPure is the #1 choice for home builders in Texas, and their transferable lifetime warranty gives you peace of mind. The number to call again is 877-959-2766. They have offices in the Metroplex as well as Houston, San Antonio, and Austin. Go to permapure.com to learn more about financing options available. Don't let a little crack become a big problem.
Summer is here, and it's time to plan your style staycation with Bob's Discount Furniture, where you can find everyday low prices on the hottest styles. The comfiest Consumer Reports recommended mattresses, fast, friendly delivery, and flexible financing to fit your budget. Go to mybobs.com for details. So stock up and score everyday low prices, delivered on time all summer long at your nearest store or at mybobs.com.
Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
In a world parched for excitement, one drink will emerge. Twisted Tea, the refreshing thrill ride of flavor. Recreating its classic role as the hard iced tea that goes down smooth. Twisted Tea doesn't just taste like real iced tea, it's made with real brewed tea and a 5% kick of alcohol. Taste the adventure with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
The previous program is paid for by The Game with Tim Matthews. All opinions or statements expressed on this program are solely those of The Game with Tim Matthews or its guests and do not reflect the opinions of KRLD-FM or Odyssey.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football.
While you do whatever you do on a Sunday midday. You might be headed off to church. You might be coming back from Sunday school. You might be getting ready to play with the kids in the park. You might be just getting ready to go play some golf. You might be doing things on your own. Or, we understand it's a gig economy. It's a gig economy. People got things to do to make that money. We ain't mad at you. Let us know what you got going on. It's going to be another hot one. Highs today going to be 100. Yep, flirting with 100 degrees again. 877-881-1053. By the way, you might be headed to brunch. I always leave out the brunch people accidentally. We know Sunday. There are people that like to get a mimosa. They like to darty, as Eric Chiafalo like to say, get their day drinking started. You might be headed to the pool. You might be doing something where you're going to be relaxing outside some kind of way, or you might just be staying inside saying, you know what kind of sports can I watch? And by the way, we thank you for just letting us be with you while you do these things. By the way, the other thing I want to bring up are always making sure that the Tolos know that we're with you if you're even outside the North Texas area. You might be Toloing on the Odyssey app. You might be somewhere around the country, around the world even. We know, we got you, and we appreciate you. We're going to have a good show today because we're going to talk to Rangers, of course. For those who missed it, we're going to talk about the Cowboys' first game. Football's here. The preseason opener. The good? No, there's not that many good. The bad? Lots of bad. The ugly? Oh, there's some butt ugly out there. We're going to get into all of that. We'll also talk about some of the other NFL preseason matchups. We're going to talk also a little bit about the NBA schedule.
Yep.
That was low-key dropped a little bit, not the full schedule, but the Christmas schedule and some of the openers and how it affect your Dallas Mavericks. We're going to get into all those kind of things. But again, let me elaborate a little bit more and say, Kevin, how you doing? Glad you could come in, because for those who listen over the weekend in Tolo, that means turn it on, leave it on. Then you know that Jake Riekma was a little under the weather. He was feeling bad because he ate some bad food. He ate some leftovers that were way too left over. There was a conspiracy theory that his fiance poisoned him, but that's not true. There's another conspiracy theory that he was in Depends, but that's not true. But today, he's still with a temperature over 100 degrees.
Yep.
Laid up sick. Probably listening right now, regretting that he couldn't even be here, drinking his Dan Campbell coffee and having that high energy. So, Kevin, when did you get the word, and glad you could fill in?
I got the word. Well, I knew that Jake was under the weather yesterday. I shot him a text. I said, hey, man, I hope you get better. And I really did. I thought he was going to get better because, throughout the show yesterday, he was really pulling through and he was doing the best that he could to bring the energy that he had. And I just said, hey, man, I hope you're doing better. Hope you get better. But, if you need me, I can try to help you out if need be. He shot me a text later last night. I didn't see it until a couple of hours afterwards. And I just said, hey, man, just let me know early in the morning, around 5:30, 6 o'clock, how you're feeling. He texted me back this morning, said he had a fever. I said, we'll see what we can do.
Well, you're here. We're glad you're here because that means we're probably going to have a segment of Khakis Kicks.
Oh, you know it.
Oh, look out if you got the shoe game. Kevin's on top of it for those who don't know. Trevor, how's things going in that Pimp Cup back there?
It's still hot back here, but it's doing
all
right.
It's feeling hot in here. Take off all my clothes.
If that's what you want, I don't mind. I don't mind.
I want to take my clothes off.
Good song, too. Need my Band-Aid.
So it's hot. Why is it hot in there?
I don't know. It's always got there's certain
They got
days,
better air conditioning.
It's been good for the past couple of weeks, but I don't know what's going on today. It's a little toasty today. Maybe it's because it's going to be 100 today. I don't know. Maybe possible.
With that being said, with that being said, shout out to all the HVAC guys because they are getting people's air conditioners cooled off. By the way, a tip for you, if you got your own air conditioner, if you're not in an apartment or something, you should, not in the middle of the day, you should water your air conditioner fan that's sitting outside. Just get the hose and spray it down. Tip I heard from an HVAC guy. We got Tolos texting in for 214. I'm rolling around with the Empire today. Listen to y'all all day long. Another 214 says Tandy, Thai Brunch, and Grandscape. That's what they're doing, talking about dartying. Yeah, Grandscape. Man, I haven't been up there yet. I've heard that's the place to be for everything relaxing and chill.
Okay.
505 says, I'm vacuuming the pool. Tao Spa. Tolo 505. Got you down. 817 says, morning, boys. Headed to DFW. Business trip to Chicago this week. Would rather be headed to church, but you better believe I'll be streaming from the Windy City. Thanks for riding with the CA. Appreciate you. You're a legend, sir. Got you down. Appreciate that too. Head to DFW Airport. Let me know if those planes are on time. Get back at us. 601. Good morning, fellas. Riding across Arizona. Headed to Compton to make this delivery. Let me get a Smokey Bear check, CA. Uh-oh. This guy's been listening to G-Bag Nation back in the day. We used to do these Smokey reports. For those who don't know, we do a little Smokey report because guess what? law enforcement, the first responders, they're on our side too. They're Tolos too. They're trying to help everybody keep safe. So we get a breaker one now. We got a bear in the area looking down there. Got a report on you. Got running tags. I mean, we just do that corner show. It was a lot of fun. So that's your Smokey report. Just be careful out there on the streets. Let's see. The 682 said, head to the grocery store. Meal prep today.
There you go.
903 says, headed to breakfast with my mom in North Richland Hills. Got you down. 903 says, farming this morning. It's corn harvest time down here in Corsicana. Love me some Corsicana. 214 says, howdy out here, Ubering. That's right. Gig economy. Ubering. Driving people around.
Make sure you tip your Uber.
Yes, sir. In fact, tip everybody because, like I said, gig economy, those tips count, not just a good review. 940 says, morning, boys, up here in Plano East, getting ready for the first day of Texas high school football tomorrow. Woo! Nothing better than Friday night lights. That's a fact.
We're right around the corner. Right around the corner.
214 says, CA and Kevin Cat. Khaki Cap. This is Nick. Yes, the Nick. Love hearing you guys in the AM. Headed to work. 972 says, Mom here. Mom Tolo. Running errands with my son. Listening as usual. And 469 says, headed to HEB from Forney. By the way, if you got an HEB in your area, you done hit the jackpot. That is the number one grocery store in America today. Nothing else close. We love all the rest of the stores. Don't get me wrong. But HEB is another level.
Do you live near an HEB, CA?
Yes, I do. I kid you not. It is 2 miles away. And I know when to get in and out away from the traffic because there's always traffic around that HEB. Everybody, this is HEB in Waxahachie. This is when I knew when we moved to Waxahachie a year and a half ago. I knew I'd hit the jackpot when they said, and we got HEB. What?
Oh, that sold the deal. Sold the deal.
I'm telling you. You got an HEB near you?
I don't have one next to me.
Where are you?
Particularly.
Where are you?
I'm closer on the west side of Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to drive about 30 minutes to find an HEB. Now, my girlfriend, on the other hand, in Granbury, they've got one like 5 minutes from their house.
It is.
And yeah, I agree. HEBs are it.
Trevor, you got our HEB near and where you live? What part
I live in Murphy, so I got to drive about 20 minutes to Allen to get to one, but they're building an HEB right across the street from me.
Oh,
and I'm gonna gain 100 pounds because I'm gonna eat their chicken salad every day. It's gonna be phenomenal, and go get some tortas.
See, that's the curse and the blessing. You go gain that way. By the way, they got so many fresh food areas. Like they got these salads, ready-made salads for like $5. I always get one of these salads.
Yeah,
I'm trying to have a long life, stay fit. I mean, the salads are just unfreaking believable. But they got everything, and everybody knows the biggest secret. They got those hot tortillas, those hot buttered tortillas. Yeah, I'm telling the truth. I'm going to tell the truth on HEB. And there's another thing I'm looking for. I used to live in Uptown forever. Before I got married with kids, used to live in Uptown, literally for 9 years. And there was a Tom Thumb that's on McKinney Avenue that closed down, and they're going to put something there. That thing is a gold mine if they ever put something there. There's a fence around it. It's right there on McKinney and Lemon. I'm just still waiting. There's a Tolo out there who has to know why this thing is not even open. Meanwhile, there's a Whole Foods that opened up like a few years ago down the street in high rise on McKinney Avenue, and it's low key. That's the place to be as well. I'm just saying, but there's a ready-made grocery store that's been shut down for a decade, and I don't know why. 877-881.
Could be haunted.
Could be haunted. You know, I love that. I love conspiracy theory. 469 says, yeah, those HEB tortillas are fire. 903 says, Bono question, what does HEB stand for? Anybody? Trevor?
Here, everything's better. Thanks, Kevin.
Think so? That's the fact?
Here, everything's better. That's it.
I thought that it was the initials for the guy that created HEB.
Could be. We're going to look that up.
Also, I
do know for a fact it's not Hearst Euless Bedford.
Just saying. Not that.
I have heard some people say
I want to say it's a San Antonio company, and I lived there for a little while, so it is a San Antonio company. I'm 99% sure it is here, everything's better.
Yeah, whenever we went to San Antonio, the HEB's all around the block. Yes, HEB stands for Howard E. Butt.
There it is.
Nice.
Howard E. Butt.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
B-U-T-T. There are some famous rich people named Butt in the state of Texas. It's like old money. Seriously, just Google it up. And also there's some rich people in the state of Texas whose last name was Hogg, H-O-G-G. And I kid you not.
Boss Hogg.
Like Boss Hogg. I kid you not. The guy named his daughter Ima. I swear. Look it up. It's a fact. Just Google it up right now.
I-M-M-A?
Yes, I-M-A. And she's rich, and I want to say maybe they were in politics too. You can Google that. Read it. What you got?
American Society leader, philanthropist, mental health advocate.
Good for her. She
Hogg.
turned it around.
Ima Hogg.
The first lady of Texas is what she's known as.
Okay. The 903 says, morning, CA. I'm headed to pick up my dad and go to the Rangers game for his birthday. And by the way, shout out to all the Tolos who work at Globe Life Field.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, the Rangers, just keeping it sports real quick for a second here before we get into some Cowboys talk. Rangers, down the dial on our sister station, KRLD, whenever there's a Cowboys game here on home of the Cowboys, home of the Rangers. Rangers, unless it's in the playoffs, get bumped down the dial to our sister station, 1080 KRLD. They lose yesterday. Third home game loss in a row. Lost to the Phillies. And on the mound was Jacob deGrom, who lost his third straight game. What does this mean for the wild card? Oh, we can get into that. And also, Josh Hamilton was honored. The great Josh Hamilton. Probably the most natural baseball player this century.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he didn't even have to study it. He could just ding dong. He was inducted to the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame. Jared Sandler sat down with him. We're going to hear from Jared. I think it was at 10:40. I think it's 10:40.
Yeah, we're going to hear from Jared at 10:40.
Yes. So we're going to talk some Rangers for sure. But let me read a couple more of these texts because, again, everybody's winning. I love talking
Y'all
to
blowing
Tolos.
up the text line this morning, Tolos.
Let's see.
Love it.
817 says, driving home from Houston, listening on the app. Appreciate you. Another 817 says, what up, CA? Kevin and Trevor, getting ready to go to church. Love watching you guys on the fan cam. Hashtag Tolo. 903 says, good morning, fellas. Making that trip back to Colorado. Y'all need me to bring anything back? Wink, wink. That's from Tolo Trucker. Not for me necessarily.
I'm all right. I'm all right. Thanks, though.
I know what you're bringing in and bringing out. That's what.
Be careful out
for those
there.
who do aim management, for those who don't, what you want to talk about. Let's see. We got another Tolo says 972 says crazy that Albertsons haven't been developed. That Albertsons, it was at Albertsons on McKinney Avenue. It hasn't been developed in like 20 years. It's just sitting there. There's nothing around that building. I like your conspiracy theory, Kevin, because maybe it's hard. I don't understand.
It might be a Spirit Halloween this coming Halloween, though.
That's
that
another
happen,
good one.
You know?
Oh,
that would help the haunted stories, right?
Interesting. 361 says I'm hauling salt water in Mansfield for 10 services. 469 says, hey, Chris, HEB owned that spot on McKinney, going to open up a central market next year. Okay, so that's going to be a central market next year. Good looking out. And yeah, and it was in Albertson. I remember, like I said, I used to live there, but I can't remember if it's Tom Thumb or Albertson, but I knew it was one of those. I used to go there all the time. Let's see. Central Market is the closest thing to HEB, and it is owned by HEB. That's from the 214.
I don't think I've been to a Central Market.
You haven't? It's real nice.
I don't think I have.
They got one on Greenville Avenue. It's real nice. It's like I said, it's kind of like a Whole Foods.
Okay.
Let's see. 469, going back to work in the attic. Got to keep Texas with that AC. Again, appreciate y'all. You guys are like first responders. Anybody going up in an attic in this kind of weather, man, you stay hydrated. So like I said, drink plenty of water. 469 said, they're making a Spirit Christmas. Did y'all hear that one?
So I do know that they did a couple of them last year. Unfortunately, they're not doing a full rollout because I think last year was just a test experiment.
Speaking of Christmas, NBA has released their schedule. We're going to debate and ask the Tolos a little bit later in the show, maybe about half an hour. What are you going to watch on Christmas Day? The NFL has taken over Christmas.
You got some
NBA
decisions.
still has their schedule. They released it. Which games are you going to watch? NBA versus NFL on Christmas Day. That's coming up. But coming up next, Cowboys, the takeaways from Game 1, the Joe Milton experiment. It travels on. Next on 105.3 The Fan.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
You know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean like your name. No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen. Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut. But that's hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair. Okay, freaking me out.
Up in here, up in here. R.I.P. to the great. I digress. 877-881-1053. That's the Franklin Injury Attorneys text line. This is 1053 The Fan. I'm Chris Arnold along with Khaki Kevin Walker. And then the Pimp Cup, Trevor, the creator, Trevor Beck. And we are here for you and you and you on a Sunday. We can't thank y'all enough. We're going to talk about the Cowboys Rams preseason game that was out in SoFi in L.A. on the West Coast. First of all, I'm going to ask the very difficult question. Tolos, did you watch it? Did you watch a little bit?
There was some saying they weren't going to watch.
I know. Did you get a toe in the water? Did you watch the whole damn thing? Okay, I was bored. When I say I was bored, I didn't want to go outside in the heat. I thought about it. I changed my mind. I said, you know what? I'm going to sit right here on the couch and let the game watch me and play with my phone and do some emails and delete stuff. And by the way, do y'all ever delete your emails? I have a habit of just deleting my emails. Some people have just 1,000 emails.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
That's a lot of people. I'm bored. I just delete emails. And then I also, respond to emails or go on Twitter. One of the things I also do during Cowboys games, because it's like a party, I go on Twitter during the game. And then I'll either follow certain people who cover the Cowboys or whatever, and they're hilarious, or I just, make a comment here and there. Sometimes they put it on 1053 The Fans Twitter page. But I do that during the game as well. Last night I was bored out of my mind, so therefore I watched the game. And Bill Jones did a fine job as usual. Isaiah Stanback did a fine job as usual. In fact, even we had Kyle Yeomans on yesterday. He was on the sidelines. He did a fine job. The Cowboys themselves, no, they suck. But then again, no one who's projected to be a starter was even in uniform.
Nope.
They're in street clothes. Well, not street clothes, shorts and T-shirts on the sideline.
AD was there?
Who?
AD?
Yeah, stop. He's not in L.A. right now, is he?
That's pretty good, Trevor. That was pretty good.
That's a good one. But no. They didn't even. So this is where I'm giving Bill Jones and Isaiah Stanback credit. They had to name players in their new jerseys of guys that aren't even going to be on the roster in the regular season. You know how hard that is to be play-by-play in color and talk about guys making plays or missing plays or screwing up or whatever. One thing, Stanback, of course, had lots of information. This guy's won Emmy Awards. We're going to have him on 11 o'clock. We're going to call up my boy Isaiah Stanback 11 o'clock because he was wildly entertaining as well as great information. And Bill Jones, just solid with information, little facts people did not know. For example, the Rams had Drake Stoops playing wide receiver. If you're Carter Freeman, who loves college football, he's our college football insider, as well as all the webcams. You know who Drake Stoops is. He played football for OU, son of the legendary coach, Bob Stoops, who's coaching the Arlington Renegades right now as a hobby.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
So for the Cowboys, we got 5 takeaways. We want to get into these 5 takeaways of what we liked and did not like. And by the way, Tolos, again, let us know if you caught any of the action or you're still saying, not yet. I don't want to learn names I don't need to know.
They Tolos are chiming in 682. I watched it, but I was more focused on DeGrom on the hill, even though he fell off in the 7th. 214. I watched the first half of it.
A little later.
I'm really hoping that they had no starters on defense or offense line last night because that looked terrible.
By the way, Shotty said he's going to be vanilla on purpose.
He did.
And the 817 says vanilla game from players and coach. And he's accurate about that, except for there were a couple of things that caught my eye.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that caught my eye, they brought in a guy, and they kept talking about this, laughing about it, Bill Jones and Isaiah Stanback, that had been basically out there for the last 36 hours. They just signed him up off the street.
Yep.
A former Cowboy, Malik Davis, actually looked good at running back.
Yeah, he did.
Again, he's going against backup. But I'm like, he actually showed something in this game, let alone, in other words, the running back room by committee got a little bit more complicated. They started Deuce Vaughn, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. It was like a farewell gift. Because y'all know where's going to play him.
Yeah.
He doesn't play. They actually had him in special teams for a second to try to return a punt, but it went over his head. But, I mean.
We don't have to tell the joke. Joke makes itself.
That was, hey, thank you for your service. Here's the gold watch.
Yeah.
Because that running back room by committee, there's other guys who are
He's
bigger,
not part
faster,
of that
strong.
committee.
The kid from Clemson, he looked good. The running back,
Uh-huh.
I mean, he looked good.
Okay.
And I think Nick Harris was pointing him out a couple of nights ago. We had Nick on.
Yeah.
Anybody else caught your eye before we get into this Joe Milton stuff?
Well, you talked about Malik Davis. He led the rushing room, 7 carries for 63 yards. His 16 yards was his longest. 148 rushing yards from the rushing core as a whole. I would say Trayshawn Holden caught my eye.
Who?
Trayshawn Holden caught my eye.
The corner.
I don't know if it was his stats or the fact that I saw somebody wearing number 7 and I just kept wanting to say, why is Trayvon Diggs on offense? But, Trayshawn Holden, 2 receptions, 2 targets, 42 yards. He looked solid. And yesterday, Fred and Blake asked me my prediction on who was going to be a standout.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, this could be a really good game for Jonathan Mingo.
And Mingo was out there, but guess what? He got 1 target.
Whole bunch of cardio.
Whole bunch of cardio. That was a cardio kind of game.
Yeah, it was.
They're lucky it wasn't hot out there. By the way, shout out again to Kyle Yeomans, who we had on yesterday. He caught up with George Pickens on the sidelines. And Pickens had his own headphones too. And he was talking about how it's beautiful weather in SoCal. And then he talked about the play of the game, which we'll get into a little bit later. The play of the game did not happen. Well, it happened on the field, but it was the funniest thing that happened tonight. It was the funniest thing. We'll get into that. For those who caught it, those who saw social media, George Pickens says, I didn't see it live, but I caught it on replay, and I just cracked up. I'm gonna go ahead and play this. This is what happened. I'm gonna go ahead and stop down because I hate to tease Tolos, and the payoff is way down the road. Here's what happened. To me, this was the highlight, crazy play of the game. Joe Milton was throwing a bomb to one of the wide receivers, the go route, and he connected because Joe Milton's got an arm. He connected. It was down like on the Rams' 20-yard line, and a penalty flag came out. And Kyle Yeomans and Bill Jones talked about it.
Yeomans on the sideline can clear things up as we look at C.D. Lamb on the sideline. Kyle?
Yeah, guys, this happened right in front of me. C.D. Lamb was celebrating Jonathan Mingo getting behind his defender. He was so excited he jumped in front of an official, and the official ran over C.D. Lamb. On the sideline, that's where the penalty comes in, and he was off the sideline, he was outside of the box, and so CD's the one that's being penalized here for the Cowboys sideline infraction.
This is what's so wild about it. They showed it on the big screen at SoFi. That's where Pickens said he saw it and fell out laughing. CD was laughing afterwards, but when they showed the replay on the broadcast, this referee was running because he's trying to keep up with the play. He's looking at the field. CD wandered out onto the sideline. You know how, in the NBA, they said, do not go out on the court.
Yep.
He went outside of he's on the field, and he's waving his arm, and the referee, like a locomotive running over a truck on the railroad track, wiped him out. And then he gets up, and they threw the flag because CD interfered with the ref. It was hilarious. And they had a good time with that. But that was a Mingo play. I bring that up because you were talking about Mingo, and Mingo didn't have any catches, and Joe Milton really never looked at him.
Yeah, especially on that throw when Mingo got open, just overshot him. 469 CD needs to move. I agree. Yeah, and we said that CD does need to move. He was in the way.
Yeah, he didn't know where he was. It was a preseason game. He was just out there like
he's not used to being on the sidelines.
Why was he celebrating before the catch even happened?
Well, he's happy for his guy getting open.
He's like, it's like a go route. Here we go.
But that's right. And so Milton undershot him. That's why, there was 2 penalties on that play. It was the CD Lamb penalty, but also there was a pass interference on the defender because he was trying to kind of come under and fair catch the ball, and he just yanked him down. I'm mad that CD was celebrating before the catch even happened. That's because pay attention, son. Pay attention.
I'm not mad that he was celebrating. If he was like celebrating where he was supposed to be celebrating, happy that my guy, Jonathan Mingo got open, then anything, I'm like, oh hey. This is a good receiving core. They like each other. He's all for his guy Jonathan Mingo right here.
Hey, put it like this. I don't get mad at nothing in a preseason game because it's a preseason game. So I can't even possibly get that deep with it. At the same time, you mentioned that he's celebrating the wide receiver room. There is culture there. This is what Shotty was trying to create. And when the pick happened, there's a pick. I think Israel Israel got the pick?
McQuamu
got the pick. So he got the pick, and Trayvon Diggs is cheering them all on the sidelines. And when he comes to the sidelines, everybody surrounded the guy because it was a nice play. And that might have been one of the highlights of that game. So shall we go ahead and dive into this Joe Milton extravaganza?
Yeah, we can dive into it. So do you want his stats first, then we can go from there? All right.
Then we'll tell you, don't ever look at the stats and think you saw the game.
Yes, true. 17 of 29, 143 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, took 1 sack, 68.6 quarterback rating.
That ain't even half of it. Okay, so let me go ahead and say what I put on Twitter. Okay? This explains his night in a way. Joe Milton and Dak Prescott have opposite strengths. Prescott has a high football IQ with an average arm. Milton has a gun for an arm, and his football IQ is questionable. Therefore, casual fans love Milton and possible upside, quote marks, LOL. And I say that because he's got a cannon, but he doesn't know what to do with the cannon. In fact, one guy on Twitter, and he says all he does is but jokes. This is not he's real clever. He's probably getting a lot of followers now because he just puts clever memes and he comments on highlights. He put a little short clip of this guy throwing a football too damn hard to his receiver that's like 10 yards out.
Yeah.
And he's like beating him up, throwing bullets at him. And he said, Joe Milton.
Yeah. I mean, he
doesn't know what to do with that arm. And he's big, so he can run. But as Isaiah Stanback said, because Isaiah Stanback was a running quarterback at Washington. When he came to the Cowboys, he plays on defense. But, hey, when he said, my college coach, very low-key, under his breath, said, hey, don't you ever lead with your shoulder again. I will bench you. He said, that's the Joe Milton conversation he's going to get. Because you slide. And by the way, the backup quarterback, again, props to Will Grier. Will Grier came in. Joe Milton hurt his elbow. Maybe it was a funny bone because he couldn't really throw, and so he's throwing on the sideline trying to get back in the game. And they're like, no, you're done. Because it's late in the fourth quarter. Like, Joe Milton, you're done. Late in the fourth quarter. Here comes Will Grier, marches him down the field, and then runs like 15 yards for the touchdown. Did a stanky leg afterwards for his touchdown dance. Teammates surrounded him, and Joe Milton's looking at him like, yeah, that should have been me.
Yeah. He did. Will Grier ran the ball twice, 12 yards in the touchdown. 2 for 3.
Yeah, I mean, real good, real excited. Like I said, he will be the Chase Daniel. And for those who don't know, the game plan is, yes, we're going to try to develop Joe Milton. I'm like, okay.
Keyword try.
You're going to try, but if Dak Prescott gets hurt and he's not hurt bad, you're going to see Chase Daniels come in to save the game because he's a veteran and he's been in the system before. He literally would have been the backup for Dak had he not pulled a hamstring about 2 or 3 years ago. It was between him and Cooper Rush, and he pulled a hamstring. Cooper Rush was not having a good preseason. Cooper Rush finished the preseason, and they cut Will Grier because they didn't want to keep that many quarterbacks. Somebody said, I need another guy on one of these assistant coaches said, I need another cornerback. Or I need another offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And so Will Grier got cut. Will Grier is going to be the Chase Daniels. You put him in there, he will save the game. Joe Milton, the only way you're going to see him if the Cowboys have a huge lead and they don't want to get Dak hurt and then they let Joe Milton play with the food. That's the only reason you're going to see him because they're going to say, well, you know what? That big arm, every coach, every casual fan is like, I can develop him. They just do. They just love that. With Dak Prescott, who's got an arm that can do every kind of thing but power.
85 yards.
Exactly. Dak Prescott knows his arm. Therefore, he's not going to force a play. He's not going to see guys with insane arm talent. I can make that throw. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, sideways. That's not Dak. So he's not going to throw into crazy coverages.
Yeah.
And Joe Milton would. But then Joe Milton's going to throw a bullet to a guy that's making a crossing pattern and break his arm.
Yeah.
The receiver's arm. So just saying.
Possible.
Just saying. Any other takeaways you wanted to bring up on this game?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the team penalties, actually. I wanted to talk about the team penalties a little bit. 11 penalties for the Cowboys for a combined 83 yards. That was something that we hammered on a lot with this whole shoddy thing, was that he was going to make them disciplined. They were going to focus on the penalties. That's something that McCarthy struggled with in the past. 11 penalties. Again, the whole preface is that it is a preseason game.
And these are backups. But also know this. Coaches love this because it gives them a reason to two guys out.
Very true.
And you want them to be more disciplined.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do.
I mean, all the way down the roster. In other words, if you're backup, you can't be getting penalties. What makes you think we want to start you?
Yeah.
Again, this is a reason. Even if you win a game, penalties are a good reason for coaches to want to chew you out, and they just need something to. They just need an excuse.
Yeah.
So yeah, penalties. By the way, there's a penalty on Lyle Collins, who looked good in his debut as a backup. It was a penalty because they just changed the quarterback, and Isaiah Stanback broke that down perfectly, saying it's very easy for an offensive lineman to get a penalty when you immediately change out the quarterback because the voice is different, the cadence is different, and it throws you off sometimes. So I give Lyle Collins, who, by the way, just signed a couple of days ago, he's back in shape. He looks better than ever, and he's going to work his way back onto the roster. He's solid. He's a veteran. That's a gimme.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
All right. We're going to talk some more about the Cowboys preseason debacle a little bit later in the show. But coming up next, the NFL has decided to take over Christmas Day. That's where the NBA used to just own Christmas. Guess what, though? The NBA just announced their Christmas Day schedule. We got the NFL's Christmas Day schedule. What you going to watch? That's next on 105.3 The Fan.
Make dinner worth more during DFW Restaurant Week. Stella Artois, the official beer of DFW Restaurant Week, invites you to drive authentic connection and conversation around the dinner table at DFW's finest restaurants. See who's serving Stella at dfwrestaurantweek.com.
Window Nation, the star of window replacement and proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, can help you fill your house this season with savings. Right now, get 50% off all styles of windows and make no payments with no interest for 24 months. Fill your home with energy-efficient windows for a customized, authentic Dallas Cowboys jersey, and you could even help fill the Cowboys house and win tickets to a game. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com/Cowboys now for details. Window Nation, proud partner of your Dallas Cowboys.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen that before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your...
I'm not saying this is your hair. Okay, for you.
Unmatched coverage of your local 9 is right here on The Fan.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. If you're in the market to upgrade a vehicle, get to Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. Back-to-back #1 Chevy dealership in the world. They got more new Chevys than anyone, all priced to sell. Silverado, Tahoe, Blazers, Malibus, Equinox, and more. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive, relax, and enjoy the difference. Based on new Chevy registrations 2023 and 2024.
Thanks, Trevor. Trevor, the creator, and the Pimp Cup. Chris Arnold, Khaki Kev. Hello, Tolos. Good morning on a Sunday morning. Easy like a Sunday morning. 877-881-1053. That's the Frankel & Frankel Injury Attorneys text line. Coming up next, we're going to talk some more NFL, top of the hour. Go around the NFL a little bit. Some of the other preseason games, some interesting things that occurred, not just last night. How about over this whole freaking weekend? Yeah. 877-881-1053. We're glad everybody's listening in right now, live and local. Let me give a quick shout out from the 714 saying that shout out to the North Texas Amateur Baseball League hosting its all-star games today at Frisco Rough Rider Stadium. Games from morning to night ranging from 18 plus to 65 plus, and rowdies in the lazy river today. That will work. Appreciate the tip from ASU Reed. Got you down. And by the way, proceeds go to Scottish Rite Hospital. We always taking care of the nonprofits and everybody, getting it done. All right, high today going to be in the hundreds. Get ready for that. Just letting you know. Rangers, we're going to be with you all the way to the Rangers pregame show at 1 o'clock. So sit tight. We got you. Pull up a chair or lean back in your ride as you ease on down the highway. We're going to talk a little bit of everything. Quietly, the NBA Friday night released their Sunday lineup schedule, their Christmas lineup schedule, and a couple of home openers. They let everybody know what's going on in a couple of home openers. And I thought that was interesting because the entire schedule for the NBA is probably going to come out over the next couple of days here. This week, get ready for it. You'll find out when the Mavericks are playing whom and where. But we're going to talk about the Christmas schedule in particular because over the last 3 or 4 years, the NFL on purpose has scheduled Christmas games. In fact, last year, I'll never forget this, because it was like a Thanksgiving game. Beyonce played halftime. I think it was the Texans game.
Yeah, it was the Texans game.
She did like her Cowboy Carter album. She had Post Malone down there. She had Shabuzi down there. It was like a halftime show for the Super Bowl or Thanksgiving Day show for the Cowboys. So I was like, man, they're being serious about these Christmas games. Well, let's go ahead and start with the NFL schedule. The NFL schedule versus the NBA schedule. But let me go ahead and mention this for Maverick fans. The Mavericks, as their season begins, their training camp will be in Vancouver, Canada. If you didn't hear this, they're going to be in Vancouver. Why? Because why not? No, it's true than the A. Wink, wink, nod, nod for those who know. They're going to play their first preseason game in Fort Worth, Dickies Arena, against the defending world champion Oklahoma City Thunder. That's going to be, I think, October 6th. Check that date. It's going to be on a Sunday. Then they're going to play Charlotte. They're going to bring in Blake Elliott's doppelganger, one of them ball boys. You know what I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. I have a different doppelganger for him that he hates.
Who?
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks. Oh, God. I'd hate that, too.
Yeah, he hates it.
Because Dylan Brooks is a fake villain. But, yeah, he's more – he could have been one of those balls.
He could
brothers.
Yeah, he could have.
Okay. That's going to be at the American Airlines Center. The season opener, okay? Oh, by the way, they're playing the Lakers in Las Vegas in the preseason. It could be Cooper Flag versus Luka. Luka might not play because it's the preseason, but you just never know.
Never
The
know.
NBA knows what they're doing, right? They know what they're doing. The Mavericks home opener for the umpteenth time in a row, or the umpteenth time. The Spurs, Wemby and the Spurs, Cooper Flag and the Mavericks, October 22nd. October 22nd. I want to say that's a Tuesday. It might be a Wednesday. The NBA will start the regular season on October 21st. October 21st, the NBA is going to have the defending Oklahoma City Thunder, world champions, hosting the Houston Rockets with KD watching his former team get their rings. The NBA think it's funny. I think it's funny because KD can be petty online, but
it's funny because KD has rings.
That's why. Well, here's the deal. It's not as funny as it would have been Harden or Russell Westbrook,
right?
Because they don't have the rings.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma City, be like, nah. KD's like, F y'all, I got my rings. We're good. He could show up. You know, I always show the players walking into, the building.
Yeah,
he could be walking wearing his rings, like, what up, bees?
Yeah,
like Daisha, what up, bees? But yeah, so that's going to be the first night. You're going to televise that nationally, and you got Golden State at the Lakers. That's Steph versus LeBron and Luka, skinny Luka. LeBron James. And by the way, there's word that Golden State is interested in Josh Giddey, making a trade with the Chicago Bulls for Josh Giddey for
is it Kuminga?
Kumingas. Yeah, Jonathan Kuminga. We'll see if they pull that off before the season starts. Meanwhile, the Christmas schedule. See what y'all are interested in. Gentlemen and Tolos, 877-881-1053. This is the NFL Christmas schedule versus the NBA Christmas schedule. You tell me which game you're going to watch, okay? You can flip the dials. You can be at a sports bar. You can be in your man cave, have a couple of channels going.
Now, here's the only thing that I'll throw out before we read these. NBA has not announced the times for these yet.
That's correct.
Which is very important because the NFL, we know.
But we got the order.
We do have the order.
So we have the order. So these are the couple of NBA games versus one NFL game. So here's what you're looking at. The NFL game to start off Christmas has your Cowboys playing the Washington Commanders, who made the NFC Championship game last year against Philadelphia.
Breakout team.
So here you go. The Cowboys, one of the toughest games in December on Christmas Day at noon Dallas time on Netflix. The NBA will counter with the Knicks hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers. The 58th time the Knicks will be on Christmas Day. By the way, this is the first time in 7 years the Celtics will not play on Christmas. As you know, Tatum's out. Who knows what the Celtics will really look like? They already traded KP.
Yeah, they gutted that roster.
The second game for the NBA that afternoon will be the Spurs versus the Thunder. So you got Cleveland at the Knicks, the Spurs at the Thunder, Wemby versus, SGA, or Cowboys, Commanders. What you going to watch, Kevin?
I mean, my rooted interest is going to go Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
And the Commanders.
Trev?
I just think football's way more fun. Like
especially that time of the year.
Yeah, basketball's great. I have no problem with basketball. I think it's phenomenal. But, man, football does something in America, and that's exactly where my pool is going to be.
Why don't you say something controversial, Trevor?
That's what Roger Goodell said. He said, we don't compete with anybody. We're football.
We compete with Apple and Google.
That's what he said.
We ain't worried about the MLB.
We ain't worried about anything else. And for a lot of fans, the NBA doesn't even start until Christmas.
True.
They're not even paying attention.
A lot of people
They're waiting for the football season over. Some people don't even pay attention until the Super Bowl is over. Okay? Just saying. And that's why when the NFL said, we can own Christmas too. So I think a lot of people will go for the the NFL. Looking down the schedule, the next game in the NFL, you have the Lions in a divisional game against the Vikings versus Houston Rockets at the Lakers. This is like late afternoon. This would be like around the 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you might be catching the last part of the second half of San Antonio, Oklahoma City Thunder. What you guys looking at? You want to see the Lions and the Vikings? By the way, Lions don't have their coordinators. They might not be that good this year.
Jake Reitman's probably going to watch the Lions. I'm watching Rockets and Lakers. That's going to be a really fun game.
Mm-hmm.
A really fun one.
Luka and LeBron.
The Rockets are really
and taking
good
on
team.
KD.
The Rockets are such a good team.
And by the way, this is what amazes me. Some of these preseason predictions have the Rockets like finishing fourth.
No way.
Rockets were number 2 in the West last year without KD.
And they didn't even get rid of that much to get
Exactly.
KD. They still got a lot of great
and
players.
Their coach is brilliant.
Amy Udoka does not get enough respect around the league. The Rockets are going to be a problem this year.
Trevor.
Y'all are making a good argument.
Oh,
come on. A very good argument.
But you're going to watch the NFL.
Football's great.
Got it. The NFL nightcap. It's going to be Denver against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be around 7 o'clock on Prime Video. And that'll be up against the Mavericks at Golden State.
Ooh.
Clay goes back to the Bay. Steph, the old Warriors, seeing if they still have anything. Of course, you got AD. You got, Kyrie's the only one's not going to be playing. D'Lo, all those guys are going to be playing. And Minnesota Timberwolves at Denver, talking about the Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards versus Jokic. And by the way, the reason the NBA likes that matchup is because in the playoffs a couple of years ago, Denver was the defending world champions, and Minnesota took them to 7, and Ant-Man made a statement, and people are thinking, okay, this guy might be the next young talent with Luka. So are you going to watch NBA or NFL?
Now, I will say this. I think that you can do both here because the Nuggets are going to be playing with the Broncos. I think they're going to start about an hour after. That being said...
Isn't that wild? Nuggets and Broncos. Denver's got a decision to make.
I think they're going to offset it by an hour, so I think you're going to be able to watch both. I'm going to go Mavs and Warriors, though. I think
I'm going Mavs and Warriors.
Y'all made another good basketball argument, but go football.
All right, there you have it. That's the Christmas matchups, NFL versus the NBA. Coming up next, around the NFL, and some of the highlights. And, Jamie Foxx weighs in as well. Next to 105.3 The Fan.
When your friends say, hey, did you hear? You can proudly say, I heard it on the Fan. Keeping you sports informed with some quality laughs along the way. Turn it on and leave it on. 105.3 The Fan, the Odyssey app, iHeartRadio app, and TuneIn app.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin. And over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now.
KRLD-FM and HD1 Dallas-Fort Worth, and Odyssey Sports Station. Driven by our D&M Leasing Studios. Thanks for turning it on, leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan.
That's right, Tolos. Live and local. 105.3 The Fan. Chris Arnold, Khaki Kevin Walker. And in the Pimp Cup, we got Trevor, the creator, Trevor Beck. And we've got you all the way till 1 o'clock where the Rangers pregame show begins. Rangers trying not to get swept by the Phillies. They lose again yesterday. DeGrom was on the mound. Rangers have lost 3 home games in a row now. DeGrom has lost 3 straight games as well. We're going to get into that a little bit later. We got Jared Sandler joining us later in the hour. But more importantly, we're also the home of the Rangers, home of the Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys played last night right on these airwaves. We've been talking about the takeaways from that first preseason games, the things you liked, the things you didn't like. There were other preseason games that happened all weekend long. We're going to dive into that a little bit. But first, we always say at the top of every hour, because, again, this is not a national show. What they're talking about, well, you can bet this much right here. The over and under's there. By the way, East Coast, East Coast, East Coast, F the West Coast, blah, 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 blah.
New York,
and what
New
do you
York.
think? We got, hey, give us your call. Give us your take. Give us your take. That is not what we do around here.
No, live and local.
Live and local, because we are here for you and you and you. Thank you for letting us ride shotgun with whatever you got going on today. Some people are working. It's a gig economy. Some people are playing. Some people are saying, you know what? I got to go to church. Some people are saying, you know, I work at church. I'll be home after the Lord tells me to go home. I like to play around.
Try to make it on G-Bag of the Day for those that work at the church.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of supporters. We got Tolos everywhere. And by the way, shout out to the Tolo back in the day who came up with the nickname Tolo. Because back in the day, they didn't call listeners of the Fan Tolos. Way back before I got here, they used to call them fans. And I went, that is corny as hell. And out of nowhere.
Fans?
Fans. This was like in 2010.
Was that like Trevor's idea or something?
No. This is way back. It was, I don't know who came up with that. I don't even think Spittle was around for that one. But it was just fans. Like, I don't know. Knew that.
That's something.
And then organically, I think Spittle came up, Hockey Hawk, Gavin Spittle, our boss, came up with the phrase, turn it on, leave it on. We used to say that all the time. Turn it on, leave it on. And then Tolo called into the show, and he said, it's Tolos. Turn on, leave on. Call us Tolos. And Jeff Kavanaugh told that to Spittle. Spittle heard Jeff Kavanaugh talking about it. And he goes, you know what? That's it. It's organic. And that's why Tolos are Tolos.
I think I remember listening when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just remember Tolo kicking on and, like, really, like, picking up and everything. Like, it was cool.
And what's really cool about it, you could be at the gas station, get some gas, have the show on. Somebody says, Tolo.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Either you know. It's like the password.
Well,
I'm at Maverick games, Maverick games, Cowboy games, whatever. People come like, Tolo. I go, Tolo got you down.
Tolo.
It's the password, man. It's like the secret handshake.
Well, for us fatties, we know the originator is originator Chris.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that sent in the suggestion for fatties.
Tell people what fatties mean, because that's the next level.
Yeah, so if you're here and you're willing to put up with the night show and all the craziness that we go through, Fan After Dark, you're fatty.
That's right.
FADDIES.
And shout out to those boys who work with you guys at night quite a bit. We're talking about the hosts. We're talking about Fred Davis and Blake Elliott, and they also Tolo 24/7 when they can. And at the same time, let me say this about the Fan After Dark. When it's on in the daytime, it's the Fan Afternoon. Just clever. It gets kind of deep. It gets kind of deep. And by the way, I'm going to give a shout out to Blake, because at one point before they named it Fan After Dark, he was talking about different levels of Tolo. And I thought this was brilliant, because he said, oh, you're a platinum Tolo. If you listen all the time.
Tolo Plus?
Plus.
Yeah, give you a platinum. Tolo Plus. Yeah, all those things. So, hey, we appreciate all the Tolos, including 469. Bugman Seth here. Glad y'all are on. 714 says, much appreciated, boys. Glad you're here. The 817 says, just finished up some disc golf. About to get some brunch. Chase one today. I got you down. And let's see. We're going to go ahead and get into some of these preseason games. Again, the Cowboys lost yesterday. It wasn't even close. They were kicking field goals for a while. That's the one thing that was a highlight. Butter was Butter. Brendan Aubrey, that's his nickname. We're talking about nicknames. Brendan Aubrey's nickname is Butter. Dak gave him that because he's smooth, just like butter. Automatic. He made his field goals. And also, the kicking game is on point. All the starters or anybody who thought they would start did not play.
Nope.
Don't even worry about it. But Shoddy did have a critique about how they got to do things some better. This is cut number 1.
Yeah, it's definitely not a storybook beginning, that's for sure. We just struggled, and I think it was 25 plays to 6 or something at one point, and that's obviously not a great way to start. They converted some fourth downs, and they controlled the ball. We had the 3 and outs. I think Joe was throwing some fastballs out there early. And I'm proud of our guys, the way they settled down, but certainly not the right way to start the game. And that's what you do in preseason, man. You learn from it. And I told the guys, hey, we competed hard, but we got to clean some stuff up. We can't have the penalties, 11 penalties or whatever that was. And at the end of the day, it's like we put ourselves in a chance in the second half to maybe make a run, and we just couldn't gain the momentum. When we scored, we kind of gave up a touchdown, and we got to play better complementary football.
He says it best. That's basically the whole game.
Yeah, and I was going to say the Rangers need to get Joe Milton's number because if he can throw fastballs, we need a closer. So let's go ahead and ship him over there. Let's try that out real quick.
Here's the thing.
We don't need fastballs.
He has no changeup. He has no touch passes. He's got a gun for an arm, and it amazes people. And as Isaiah Stanback, who's doing the color commentating last night for the CBS 11 broadcast, he and Bill Jones with the play-by-play, the great Bill Jones, Isaiah with his Emmy Awards because he's clever, but he has great takes and explains things so well. And we had Kyle Yeomans on the sidelines. Well, as he was saying, Joe Milton has that arm which allows him to get away with stuff by backpedaling and still throwing it on a dime, but he just sprays the ball crazily. He has no touch, and the football IQ is not there. It's just not there. Will it get there? I don't know.
It's 25.
I don't think so. Jake is always talking about the fact that Jake Riekma, who's not here today, he's always talking about the fact that when he was in Michigan, he covered him. He's been watching this S show for years.
Yeah.
And every coach and every casual fan says, oh, but the upside, if he can just learn to do. Will he ever?
What is the upside? Just know this is who it is.
Yeah, when it is what it is.
Right.
It is what it is at some point. All I can tell you is I do not expect him to be in a pivotal situation if Dak gets hurt this season. You're going to see the Chase Daniel for the Cowboys, Will Grier. Will Grier's been in the system before. He came in, scored a touchdown, ran it in 14 yards. He marched the team down the field, looked real good. When Joe Milton bumped his elbow or something, I'm thinking it was a funny bone thing because he wanted to get back in. He's trying to throw it, and they said, no, you're done for the day.
He said that he thinks that what it was, and the post game was that it was a funny bone, and he's fine.
Yeah, and by the way, he gave himself a D-. At least he's keeping it real. He gave himself a D- after the game. Porters was asking him, how would you grade yourself? He said, I give myself a D- because he knows he's got to be better than that. You're going to see him against the Ravens next Saturday for sure, maybe the most of the game. The question is, will you see any of Dak? I doubt it. I doubt you see him in zero. No preseason. There's only 2 more left.
Has Dak ever played in the preseason?
Yes, that's how he got the job when Tony Romo went down against Seattle. Dak's debut was against the Rams in SoFi. And he was like, whoa, because it was supposed to be Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore got injured, and all of a sudden Dak made his debut. They expected nothing, and he never gave it up. He never lost his job. And that's what happened to him when he was playing at Mississippi State. The starting quarterback got hurt.
Yeah.
Dak came in, never lost his job. When he was in high school, starting quarterback got hurt. Dak came in, never lost his job. And he's been here for 10 years now. And if Dak didn't have insane leadership abilities, you'd have been heard muttering from his teammates, coaching staff. Somebody was saying, yeah, Dak's good and all that, but blah, blah, blah. You've never heard that, ever. Dude's for real. And he's also a great CEO in front of the cameras. He'll do the coach speak, and he'll give a little bit more detail than that. But in other words, there are some quarterbacks You can't put them in front of a bunch of cameras. They'll melt, or they'll say something stupid, or come back to haunt them. Or Dak says everything right, which drives some fans crazy because they wish he had the big arm. Not a good arm, a big arm like Joe Milton.
Yeah.
So back to around the NFL.
Yeah, so we can go over a couple of these scores.
So it's the games today?
Yeah, so we got 2 more games today to end the week 1 slate. So Saints Chargers at 3 o'clock and Dolphins Bears at 12 o'clock. For those interested, maybe Chiafalo will watch his Dolphins preseason. I'm not entirely sure.
Family from mine.
I do want to say this. The Patriots put a beating on the Washington Commanders, 48-18.
Yeah, that was the game they had the Tom Brady statue out front. And all I can say is he better be glad that statue don't look like Dwayne Wade statue. That's just saying. You know what I'm saying? The ugly face statue.
That one or Cristiano Ronaldo's.
Oh, yeah, the bust.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Brady's got the statue. And by the way, it's not, he says it makes him feel old. You know, Michael Jordan has a statue out in Chicago in front of their stadium. And they put that out there the first time he retired. So he came back and he was still playing with the statue out front.
I actually didn't know that. That's kind of funny, though.
I didn't know that
That's
either.
interesting.
Because I was going to say that I feel like this is too soon for a Tom Brady statue.
Well, that's why I brought up that we were on the same page. We were reading each other's minds because there are a lot of people like, wait a minute. He's not even retired good. He's not even eligible for the Hall of Fame yet. And they already got a statue. He's the GOAT. I'm sorry. When Michael Jordan, like I said, he was retired, but he wasn't really retired. He came back, did the ceremony, they unveiled the statue, and then he came back again.
What if
I don't think Brady's coming back again.
No, Brady's done. But that's kind of funny. Like, now I'm imagining like Michael Jordan like purposely driving by his statue every day before he went and played. That's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, a couple of other games that happened.
Let's go to Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville, where Travis Hunter, finally getting some action over there. 31-25, they lost to the Steelers.
Mm-hmm. And in that game, a kicker, if it was a regular season game, would have set an NFL record, right?
That's what it would have been. We got that audio?
Yeah, we got the audio. Who's the kicker? Do you know? We'll tell you who it is right after you hear this clip. This is a 70-yard field goal.
Holy smokes. They got a shot.
He just kicked a 70-yard field goal. Are you kidding me?
Crazy.
I've never seen that. The NFL record. That would be an NFL record.
In the first half. Holy smokes.
That's unbelievable.
If only it had counted.
Holy smokes.
What's his name?
Cam Little.
Cam Little
with the 70-yarder.
We'll see if he makes a roster somewhere. If not for Jacksonville, we'll see if he makes a roster somewhere. Meanwhile, let's go to Tampa Bay. Shiloh. There's more than one Sanders kid in the NFL.
Yeah, you might not know that. Yeah, some might not
trying
know
to make
that.
a squad.
Yeah.
Shiloh Sanders says his goal is to be all-pro special teams. He says it all humbly. He says, I want to be all-pro special teams, and then maybe I'll get to be in the game on the regular because he's a defensive player. He's a safety, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually tackled the quarterback in a big play. Deion did it a couple of times. Well, Deion don't tackle. But Deion has made some plays on some quarterbacks in the past, not just pick sixes and not just shutting down the original shutdown corner.
Yeah. Shiloh, he had a good game. And he like you said, he's trying to make this roster, had a big hit. I want to say he had a couple of tackles in that game. But the Buccaneers, we'll see what he can do. I'm sure he'll get more action. He'll get more action as the preseason goes.
Meanwhile, speaking of more action, his brother Shador is definitely going to get more action. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think the Cleveland Browns set him up for failure, and it backfired.
You think it backfired, huh?
Yeah, owner didn't want him. They kind of drafted him on a whim, like, oh, he's still there. Let's go on ahead and get him. They already had 4 or 5 quarterbacks. They got 6 quarterbacks on the roster now. Some of them kind of hurt, got some hamstrings. You already know Flacco is 100 years old. And they said, Shooter, go out there and play most of the game, and we'll let Snoop back you up the second half and see what happens. He showed up and showed out. He was throwing dimes. He didn't have like the greatest game of all time, but guess what? They set him up for failure. Mind you, he wasn't getting a bunch of OTA reps. He wasn't getting a bunch of training camp reps. He goes out there, throws some dimes, look poised, 2 touchdown passes in the first half alone, 130 30-something yards.
138, 14 to 23, yeah.
So everybody was weighing on social media, including his dad. Dion was losing his mind. By the way, happy birthday yesterday to Dion. His let's see, Emmett was weighing in on. By the way, Emmett was at the Cowboys game too last night in the press box sitting next to Steven, drinking some apple juice. Well, I say apple juice. Wink, wink, nod, nod, wish. Put it like this: Will Chambers would be proud of Dion sipping.
Yeah.
In the owner's box with Steven. But we're going to hear from Isaiah Stanback talking about the apple juice at the top of the hour. He was doing the color commentating for that game. But back to Shedeur. He had all kinds of people watching, blew up the internet, and even Jamie Foxx, Dallas-Fort Worth's own. I say that because Jamie Foxx grew up in Terrell, played high school quarterback for Terrell. He knows quarterback like quarterback can, and he also played Willie Beeman in the On Any Given Sunday movie, right, Trevor? With Al Pacino.
Love that movie.
And guess what? He went on Instagram going crazy as Willie Beeman.
I hear what all y'all saying. My name is Willie Beeman. Hey, he the real deal. Real deal. That's coming from Willie. That's coming from Willie. Hey, now how y'all feel now? How y'all feel now? No matter what he do, how you feel now? That man playing for his daddy. All you haters, if you hate Shedeur, you hate football. How can you not love that story? Deion Sanders, absolute legend, icon. Now his son, picking up the pace. Balling out. Balling out. Balling. The fuck?
And by the way, Shedeur was not happy with his performance. He said there's a lot of things he need to clean up, which is keeping it real. And at the same time, there are people saying, well, it's preseason, don't mean anything. Well, here's the deal. Had he sucked, you'd have been roasting him.
Yeah.
And that's a fact.
Oh, that's a
People would have been roasting him. And I truly believe the Browns wanted him to fail so that the fans would not be begging for him when the season starts. That's the bottom line. The backup quarterback is always the most popular guy on the team.
Of course.
That's why people still believe in Joe Milton, even though there's been no evidence that he understands the game of football on the pro level as a quarterback. I'm just saying it might click. Who knows? Meanwhile, Texas Rangers, they lost the game last night. Jacob deGrom on the mound, but something happened at the game.
Yes.
Josh Hamilton, the great Josh Hamilton, was inducted into the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame. Jared Sandler talked to him. We're going to talk to Jared a little bit later in the hour, but coming up next, you guys were talking about this pre-show, Trevor and Kevin. On the World Series Rangers roster, who else could go in that Hall of Fame from that team? We'll talk about it next on 105.3 The Fan.
Sean and RJ, the KNC Masterpiece, G-Bag Nation, and Fan After Dark. Live and local. Turn it on and leave it on.
of that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. So Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean like your name. No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen. Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut. But that's hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair. Okay, but yeah.
Is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car truck wreck, call Frankel first. 214-817-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there's never an out-of-pocket cost, and they only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, the go-to car truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
Thanks, Trevor. Trevor, the creator. Trevor Beck in the Pimp Cup. I'm Chris Arnold, along with Khaki Kev Walker. Khaki Kevin's going to do Khaki's Kicks in another hour, so be sure to listen for that. We got Jared Sounder coming on in the next 15, 20 minutes. He's going to give us a Rangers preview. The Rangers trying to avoid a sweep against the Phillies this afternoon. Pre-game show starts at 1 o'clock. We'll be riding with you and you shotgun all the way till 1 o'clock, keeping it live and local. And the Rangers, yes, they did lose last night. And yes, it was the third straight home loss. And yes, it was Jacob deGrom's third loss in a row. I don't want to say they're free-falling, but they could be. The one thing about baseball, and baseball fans, if you're a longtime baseball fan, you should know this. This is not football, and you can't get caught up with the emotional roller coaster.
No.
And the way to win is you've got to compartmentalize things. In other words, you can be mad about the loss that night, and you got to shut it down and be prepared for the next game. And if you win that game, celebrate it that night and then prepare for the next game. There's just too many games. And for those that can compartmentalize, You're able to withstand the highs and the lows better. You won't be jumping on and off the bandwagon. Keep jumping on and off the Rangers bandwagon, you're going to tump it over.
Baseball's a consistently inconsistent game, and
Yes,
it's
it is.
also a game of streak.
Yes, it is.
Wins and losses.
Wins
Teams
and
are
losses.
streaky.
Just when you think it's the end of the world, it's not. I'll be succinct with this. The year the Rangers won the World Series, which was 2 years ago, 2023, it wasn't that long ago.
No.
When they won the World Series, they had been playing well most of the year. They go up to Seattle where they can never win a game. All they had to do was win the last game of the regular season. They win the division and they're set. Instead, they lose it. And the Astros, who had the exact same record of the Rangers, wound up, because of the head-to-head matchup, winning the division. The Rangers all say that plane ride from Seattle all the way to Tampa Bay, because they had to play the Tampa Bay Rays in the first round of the wild card. That was the longest plane ride, and they actually got their act together. That's when it was like the come to Jesus meeting. That's when everything became crystal clear. You better win or go home. And guess what? Where everybody was swan diving off of the Rangers bandwagon. Swan diving that weekend. We were there talking about it.
Yeah.
They choked. They choked. The Astros are the Astros, and the Astros are so confident. I guess we'll never know. That kind of crap.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Corey Seager was able to flip it back on them. That's what I'm saying. So everybody loaded back on the bandwagon, and lo and behold, the Rangers did the unthinkable. They won the World Series.
Perfect streak at the perfect time.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the starting lineups for today's game?
Yes, we did. We just got the starting lineup for today's game. The Rangers are going to be facing Zach Wheeler of the Phillies. Josh Smith leading off. Corey Seager after him. Simeon. So Smith, Seager, Simeon, your top three.
Nice.
Peterson in the 4 spot. Garcia in your 5. Langford, Tellez, Young, and then Higashioka in the 9. And just a reminder, Rangers fans, Patrick Corbin on the bump.
There we go. Corbin, not Evo.
No, not Evo. Corbin on the bump.
Okay, so we mentioned the World Series, Rangers. There's a lot of fan favorites on that team.
Lots.
And you guys, Trevor, you and Kevin, were talking before the show because, ironically, last night, even though they lost the game, there was an induction ceremony of the great Josh Hamilton.
Yes.
Into the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame. When we talk to Jared, we're going to talk about that with him because he talked to Josh.
I'm super excited.
And by the way,
about
Josh,
that.
he helped lead the Rangers to their first 2 World Series appearances. They didn't win either one of those, but those were fun teams and fun times back in, was it 2011 and 2012? I think
10 and 11.
10 and 11. Yeah. There you go. Wash was the manager. And like I said, Josh Hamilton, boy, it would have been, if his home run, oh my God, if Natali Felice hadn't lost his,
I didn't want to do that this morning.
Bring out some rage. Yeah, let's chill out of here.
I just shake my head because, oh my God, it would have been a movie. It would have been a movie with Josh Hamilton.
But hey, you know what? It ended up working out. We got a World Series.
So I say all of that because Josh deserved to be in the Rangers Hall of Fame. Rangers Hall of Fame is not the Baseball Hall of Fame, which is hard as hell to get into. It's the Rangers Hall of Fame. It's for the fans. And even who just went in?
Elvis.
Elvis just went in.
Yeah.
And he's deservedly so.
Of course.
So on this Rangers World Series team, the ones that won it.
Yep. I got it pulled up right here.
Yeah. Whom do you guys think belongs off of that squad?
Well, here, let's do this. Trevor, I know you've got some names that you want to talk about.
Well, before you go through the players, Bochy, right?
Bochy, for sure, right?
Bochy's got to get it, man. Because when he came to when CY hired him out of retirement, I was like, oh, watch the Rangers win the World Series.
Yeah.
I just thought, I didn't know it was going to be the first year.
Can you be in 2 team Hall of Fames?
Yes.
He's going to be a giant. Okay.
Oh,
I'm just checking.
This is not the Baseball Hall of Fame.
That's fair. Yep. I mean, he'll be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Now, what hat he has, that's another discussion for another day. Another discussion
we know
for
what
another
hat
day.
he's going to wear.
All right, I'll throw out a couple of names. We'll debate them, and then we'll go over. I'm sure you've got names that you've got. CA, you've probably even got some names. Let's start with the pitching lineup first. These are all the guys that were on the 26-man roster for the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with one that is probably a no-doubter, Nathan Eovaldi.
Evo, yes.
Yes? All around the board, 3 yeses?
Absolutely.
Can I say this real quick about Evo?
Yeah.
before this season, where he's been so dominant, Ranger fans, of course, always loved him. But do y'all know he is the other pitcher that grew up in the same hometown of Nolan Ryan? Did you know that?
I did know that.
Okay.
Alvin, Texas.
Alvin, Texas.
Alvin, Texas. This one, I'm going to throw it out there because he played for the Rangers for a long time, 2 different stints. Not a guy you think of for dominance. Martin Perez.
Even though I like him, no.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to either, but he was with the Rangers for quite a while. All right, let's get into some position players. Let's go with, and Trevor.
By the way,
brought
no
this up.
Scherzer, huh?
Well, I mean,
I'm just playing.
you know.
He was a rental.
I do love the Mad Max moniker, though.
I do.
Dope.
And by the way, he was a galvanizing presence in that clubhouse.
He was. Absolutely was.
The one thing you don't do is talk to him on a game day.
No.
He got the game face on, and there's nothing you could say that's the right thing to say.
I thought it was always hilarious when TV broadcasts would try to, like, Apple or whoever would try to do interviews with him in the middle of the game, and he's
Good
like,
luck with that.
short one answers. All right, let's do position players. Trevor brought this one up. I think it'd be a fun conversation. Adolis Garcia, Rangers Hall of Fame or not?
Of course, he's the American League MVP for the ALCS MVP. And again, that's where I'm going with this. They don't get there without him. And you can say, but he doesn't do this right. You can nickel and parse everything. This is not the Baseball Hall of Fame. This is the Rangers. Who helped get them there?
Yeah.
He owns the Astros. You don't get there without him.
Now, do you think what has happened in the past couple of years?
No.
Do you think you don't think
No.
it covers it?
It's like Josh Hamilton. No.
Trevor, how do you feel?
I mean, again, I brought this name up because that was one of the most
polarizing,
amazing calls, and I was listening. I was in the car I was driving to a buddy's house.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
And I was in the car listening to that game when Seager hit the tying home run, and then Adolis. I had to pull over and I didn't have a voice that whole evening because I was so hype. And I think that's, for me, for what a Hall of Famer is. And again, I know there's difference between American Hall of Fame or Baseball Hall of Fame, but that was a moment that will always be remembered as a Rangers fan.
Exactly.
And I think that right there get you into.
So put it like this: if this was the Yankees,
Yeah.
you go to the World Series, and win the World Series umpteen times and all that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's just a moment.
But it's
and
the
one,
Rangers.
and one World Series. This is the only one they've got. They may not ever get another one.
Yeah.
You have no idea. And it took this many years to get to the World Series and win it?
64, right?
Come on now.
I don't feel like a lot of guys get rewarded.
You're
with
not
the Hall
dreaming,
of-
Ranger fans.
with a Hall of Fame status off of a 1-year dominance, but I think Adolis Garcia would deserve that. Let's do the two that are kind of the low-hanging fruits.
Real quick, before you go some more players, the 972 says Adolis, Evo, and Seager only.
Okay.
469 says Adolis absolutely does not belong in the Ranger Hall of Fame.
I knew that there was going to be a little bit of a split there. I do want to say, let's talk about Simeon and Seager. Fellas.
Both.
I think Seager's arguable. I don't know if I would say Simeon because the fan the fan favorite type thing. I feel like a lot of the guys that get in the Hall of Fame are fan favorites, and I don't know if anybody would say my favorite player is Simeon. I don't know, at least in your heart.
I'm gonna put it like this: they're a package deal. They came here as a package, basically.
That's a good thought.
I agree.
It's kind of like Elvis and Beltray. They're a package.
I agree. If one gets in, then it would only make sense if the other. And if they don't get in, then neither get in.
Beltray's in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Elvis is not. But guess what? Seager's probably going into the Baseball Hall of Fame because he's got 2 World Series MVPs, 2 different teams, the whole 9 yards. Simeon's not, but they're packaged.
Right.
And we're talking about the entire season, and Seager showed up big in the World Series when needed.
Josh Smith.
Simeon.
Josh Smith, fellas.
I don't know. And let me tell you why I say I don't know. I think give him more time in a Rangers uniform.
Agreed.
Because he had a great year last year, should have been an all-star. During the World Series year, he was good, but it wasn't like we did. Otherwise, last year it was like, where'd this come from?
Yeah, last year was his kind of breakout.
Exactly. Yeah. And we know what he can do. He's solid, but let him do some more solid. Too early.
All right, let's go to the Tolos because they're feeling a certain kind of way for sure about a lot of this. 817, you don't put someone in the Hall of Fame for one World Series. It's a culmination of a long career. 469, Josh dominated the postseason and regular season. I'm thinking that they're talking about Smith, but I'm not entirely sure. Nelson Cruz from the 817. Adolis Game 7 of the ALCS alone puts him in the Rangers Hall from the 940. 817 ready for Adolis to be gone. Montgomery, 817.
They're just mad at the moment.
I don't know if Jordan Montgomery.
No, not Jordan.
Yeah.
And by the way, because he was important, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And people are mad at him for going to the Diamondback. He didn't want to go to the Diamondback. They thought he was going to go to the Red Sox.
Scott Boras.
Yeah, they're mad at Scott Boras. Even he's mad at Scott Boras.
Oh, yeah. We got rid of him.
Yeah, he got rid of him. It was like because he did not want to go there. He wanted to go. His wife, his whole family was like up in Boston. And he thought, well, I'll just go home if I'm not going with the Rangers. Boras screwed him.
Simeon is absolutely a fan favorite from the 214. Josh Smith is the best player. Y'all are crazy. I think Josh Smith.
I agree. Give him more
on
time,
a fantastic trajectory.
Yeah, exactly. Just let him keep doing it.
Yeah.
If you say Josh Smith, you might as well say Martin Perez. Martin Perez already did it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he was there for a while. So
anybody else?
I mean, did y'all have any names that you want to throw out? Trevor, did you have any names that you wanted to throw out?
Maybe Josh Young, but again, like we need more. We need more.
I didn't want to do too many of the young guys because it would have been the same answer.
Exactly.
Need more time. Need more time.
That's it. I like the conversation. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Jared Sandler about his conversation with Josh Hamilton and where the Rangers are today. Next on 105.3 The Fan.
This is Ryan Watson, owner of Alliance Hyundai. During the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event, we have over 600 vehicles in stock, like the all-new 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe. Every new Hyundai comes with America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, and owner's assurance.
Remember that Uber Eats has groceries.
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Hazel Babes.
Sapphire Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Freaker?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen that before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean like your name. No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen. Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut. But that's hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair. Okay, wait.
Thanks, Trevor Beck and the Pimp Cup, Trevor the Creator. I'm Chris Arnold, along with Khaki Kevin Walker, riding shotgun with you, all the way to the Rangers pregame show at 1 o'clock. Rangers trying to avoid the sweep against the Philadelphia Phillies today out at Globe Life Field. Everybody heading out there, appreciate you listening. And 877-881-1053, that's the Franklin Franco Injury Attorneys text line. At the top of the hour, we will talk some Cowboys football. One of the guys handling the TV broadcast, the color commentator himself, the Emmy Award winner, Isaiah Stanback, will join us live from the West Coast, and we'll talk about whatever that was you thought or you saw or you avoided that happened last night, Cowboys versus the Rams. So right now, we're joined by the great Jared Sandler. Jared Sandler, of course, brought to you by Blue Nail Roofing, and he's here to tell us about last night's game a little bit, but more importantly, Jared, first of all, welcome to the show. And we really enjoyed your conversation with Josh Hamilton.
Oh, you guys heard it?
We heard about it.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think it's out yet. I didn't know if you got a sneak peek because I haven't even seen it. But
we've heard about it, and so this is what we want to do. We want to ask you what your thoughts were since he's going to Texas Rangers Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, it was great having Josh back. The Hall of Fame jackets only became a thing in 2001, and I think just inducted. Gosh, I'll be honest, I don't have my Texas Rangers Hall of Fame induction classes memorized. I want to say he was inducted in 19. I remember it was at the old ballpark, so it was either 18 or 19. So the jackets weren't a thing then, and so and been to Globe Life Field before yesterday, and so it was great having him back. And it's so clear that for a variety of reasons. There is a level of intrigue and fascination and love that Rangers fans have for Josh Hamilton. And I think a part of it is that he is a flawed human being. Mm-hmm. I think we've seen him fall down and get back up a number of times, whether it's substance related or what have you. He, even within his career, he went to the Angels and maybe made some comments that, upset fans. And then just, even without the comments, he went to the Rangers' foremost rival at the time. The Astros were not yet in the AL West, and the Angels were the Rangers' biggest rival then, arguably. And then he comes back, and he's welcomed back, and he has this great moment on May 31st, 2015, where he has a walk-off double against the Red Sox, and that was really his final act, but he got to do it in a Rangers uniform. And, you don't see him around a ton. You see Pudge a lot more. You see Michael a lot more. You even see Adrian a lot more. And so while those guys still get thunderous ovations, I think because we don't see Josh nearly as much or really at all, and like I said, first time he's been at Globe Life Field, the way he's embraced by Rangers fans is neat. And I'll say this too, Chris, I understand there are people that have mixed feelings about Josh, and, everyone's entitled to their own feelings, but, it was good talking to him, and it seems like he's in a great place, and just being a full-time dad to, his daughters, and that's I think that's hopefully what people care most about at this point in Josh's life.
Can you talk about if you think you'll see more of him now?
I don't know. I don't think so. He does live in the area, so it's not like he's far away or anything. But I think so long as he's still got 2 daughters who are teenagers, and I don't get the sense that until they're out of the house, he'll have a much bigger presence. Now, it's been, let's say, 6 years since Josh was last a part of a Rangers event. If you go from his Hall of Fame induction to yesterday, I don't know that it's going to be another 6 years or anything, but I wouldn't expect him to take on any kind of a role or have any kind of a presence like some of the other Rangers legends like Adrian Beltre and Ian Kinsler and Michael Young have, in an official capacity with the organization.
Jared, I did want to ask, because it is, a known fact that Josh Hamilton doesn't come out that often, and he doesn't speak to the media or anything very often. What was it like preparing for that interview? Talking about all the things between on the field, off the field stuff, preparing for that interview. Just kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Kevin. Josh is actually an easy person to talk to because he's so honest. You're right. He doesn't appear a ton, and so you don't hear from him a ton. But it's not because he's reluctant to speak to the media when there is a media, interview arranged. Now he's not, super fired up to do media on a regular basis, but I think when it's someone he knows, someone, or with an organization like the Rangers that's home for him. He only did one interview yesterday. He didn't talk to the media. And so, I was very appreciative that Josh was willing to talk to me. I wasn't around when Josh was in his heyday with the Rangers. I really only had a couple of months being with Josh on a daily basis when he returned in 2015. But it wasn't hard in that, some people you talk to and you're like, gosh, how am I going to get anything out of them? When Josh talks, Josh is incredibly honest, maybe sometimes too honest. But the real challenge, Kevin, was, we only had 15 minutes with Josh because he had all sorts of obligations yesterday, and trying to figure out how to fit, the best of, what we can get out of Josh in 15 minutes. So that was the biggest challenge. Obviously, with Josh coming back for the first time in forever, there's no way 15 minutes, heck, there's no way an hour probably could encapsulate everything that we wanted to get out of them. So we did the best we could in 15 minutes. And but yeah, I'm really grateful he was to do this. There was no obligation for him to do this at all. But we asked, and he was really cool to take some time and get here a little bit earlier to do it. And it was just great getting to see him and getting to give him a hug and just look him in the eye and see that, he's happy and that he's doing well.
Please text us when you find out when they're going to air it. Let us know so we can tell everybody about it, because I think all Ranger fans can't wait to hear about this.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, let's talk about last night a little bit and talk about where the Rangers are. They've lost 3 home games in a row, which is sort of unusual the last month. And then, more importantly, Jacob deGrom has lost 3 games in a row himself. Can you talk about deGrom, what you thought about his performance, how he's feeling right now, and then the overall situation where the Rangers are trying to avoid this sweep?
Yeah, at the end of the day, when you only score 2 runs, it's tough to win. And I thought Jacob pitched really well against a really good team. I think the thing that he'd like to have back was the walk to Harrison Bader in the 7th inning. But if the Rangers have more than 1 run up on the board, then maybe it's a totally different situation. The Rangers sent Jacob back out for the 7th because he had pitched so well through 6, and unfortunately gave up the 2-run double to Max Kepler. But at the end of the day, it was a quality start. He certainly looked a lot better than he did in his last start. Maybe his last couple starts, he looked like, the Jacob deGrom we've seen for 95% of the season. But to me, when you score 2 runs, that's where the issue is, right? And I know that when a lead is given up, then, we think about that specific moment or a series of moments. But, the Rangers, and I know that, Jesus Luzardo is a good pitcher, but, Christopher Sanchez, all right. I mean, no one's really getting to him this year. Would like for the Rangers to have maybe built on some of their opportunities. They had a few against Christopher Sanchez, but Jesus Luzardo is a guy he's a good pitcher, but the Rangers had chances and they just didn't didn't deliver on opportunities to add more than just the one run they scored in the first inning. And then obviously Corey Seager's home run came in the 8th when the Rangers were already down 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
And, at that point they weren't able to muster enough. And when you play the Phillies now, post-trade deadline, I don't want to say it's an 8-inning game when they have the lead, but when Yohan Duran is going to throw the 9th inning, you really don't like your chances. And you don't want to bank on having to come back against that guy. So, I thought Jacob looked good, but unfortunately the Rangers' bats just couldn't get going, and it's not like they're going to have an easy test today. Zach Wheeler is one of the best pitchers in baseball. Some people tell you that he's been the best pitcher in baseball over the last 5 years. If he's not, he's certainly up for discussion and in that, starting rotation of maybe 5 best pitchers in baseball for the last few years. Now, the Rangers do better against righties than they do lefties, so maybe this is the nice little refuge from having 4 lefty starters in the last 5 games that they're chomping at the bit. And Zach Wheeler's start was pushed back a couple days due to shoulder stiffness, so maybe he's not 100%, but on paper, this is not going to be an easy test for the Rangers today.
Well, we're looking forward to see if they can right the ship. Again, Jared, thanks for joining us and telling us a preview about this Josh Hamilton interview. We're looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, you got it. See you. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you take
Thanks,
care.
Jared.
That's Jared Sandler, brought to you by Blue Nail Roofing, and we are your home of the Texas Rangers. Coming up next at the top of the hour, we're also the home of the Cowboys. We're going to hear from Isaiah Stanback from the DallasCowboys.com and the CBS 11 broadcast. Next on your home of the Cowboys, home of the Rangers, 105.3 The Fan.
Tolo means turn it on and leave it.
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Pre-curb?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
What's it Saffron Squad?
station. Driven by our D&M Leasing Studios, thanks for turning it on, leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan.
Woo-wee! Welcome aboard Tolos. This is 105.3 The Fan, home of the Cowboys, home of the Rangers. I'm Chris Arnold along with Khaki Kevin Walker. And in the Pimp Cup, we've got Trevor the Creator, Trevor Beck, and we've got you and you and you. We always say it again, thank you so much for letting us ride shotgun with you while you do everything you do on a midday on a Sunday, a very hot Sunday in North Texas. The temperature's going to flirt with 100 degrees. Heat index, you know, it's going to be above 100. Stay hydrated out there. 877-881-1053. That is the Frankel & Frankel Injury Attorneys text line. And on our hotline, where the weather is cool and comfortable from the West Coast, and I'm going to say you might be in Oxnard or you could be in L.A., we're talking to Isaiah Stanback, the Emmy Award-winning television broadcaster, CBS 11. He was on the color commentating last night with Bill Jones doing the play-by-play. Kyle Yeoman's on the sidelines. And, of course, he does a lot of work with DallasCowboys.com. He's a former Cowboy great. He won a Super Bowl with the Giants, played with the Patriots. He does foundation work with nonprofits. He's our guy. He's my buddy. Isaiah Stanback. How you doing, Isaiah?
Man, I am good. Unfortunately, I'm no longer in Cali weather. I'm out here in that 100 degrees you're just talking about.
Yeah!
I got back this morning at about 5 o'clock.
Lord have mercy. So you got in at 5 a.m. You did a red eye?
Yeah, did the red eye. Left last night at midnight.
Welcome to the heat. It's been a while, right?
Absolutely, man. It is different.
Well, let me give you your props right off the bat, because I texted you and I was telling you, man, you helped me survive that game last night, because not only are you an excellent color commentator, but you're wildly entertaining. I mean, it's one thing to drop the knowledge in there, but you keep it interesting when, like I said, I give an example. We talked about this a little earlier. Emmitt Smith's Emmitt Smith's up there in the owner's box. He's sitting next to Stephen Jones, and you guys cut away to him a couple of times, and Deuce is up there. And all of a sudden, you see Emmitt sipping something out of a glass. And what did you say?
I said, is that apple juice?
Blame it on the apple juice. Yeah. I mean, little things like that helped fans survive a preseason game. But also, let me give you and Bill Jones more props, because it is hard when there's not a starter out there. And you've got the first preseason game, new guys with different numbers. Talk about the prep behind that part.
Yeah, it's a lot of prep for sure, and I appreciate that. I mean, we spend some time out there. I know Bill Jones was out there for a couple of weeks. I was out there for a couple of weeks, and, you know, it's funny. People ask me all the time during that first week of being on site at Oxnard, they're like, what are you looking for? And I'm like, I'm looking at the players' numbers and their names.
Exactly.
Once I get to the point where I can see the numbers and know the name, then I start diving into how they're performing on the field, and then I start diving into their background, start doing some research online and understanding a little bit more about their story and kind of their journey to where they are today. But just try to give you a holistic picture, because you have all this information that you're not sure that you'll ever use during the broadcast, but you have to be ready to pull the trigger on it should a play happen, and you need to be able to highlight and put that player on a pedestal.
Exactly.
I got to ask, because all those numbers and everything, did you at one point want to call Holden Diggs just because of that number 7?
You know what? No, just because he's on offense. But whenever guys change their number, that's when it gets very difficult for me. Like Brian Flournoy, he changed his number. There's a number of guys that who is it? Wanye Thomas changed his number. You know, when I see the number 2, I think Jordan Lewis. So there's a number of guys. When you see numbers, you instinctively think that they're a guy from the previous year, and you have to recalibrate yourself to know that it's somebody who just simply wanted to make a change.
Speaking of that, you pointed this out during the game. There was a number 21 out there that was not Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, absolutely. Malik Davis came in there balling, literally just hopped off the plane.
Yes, he did.
I think he came and showed up on Thursday, I believe it was, walked into practice, didn't take any reps at practice, literally was just through walkthroughs and kind of just surveying, and then to step into a game and perform the way he did, it was absolutely insane. And it's really just a testament to his preparation while he was waiting for his opportunity. That's a great lesson for anybody that's out there that still might be on standby, or even high school cats or college cats that are waiting for their chance. Stay ready, so when the call comes, you don't have to try to get ready. You already are.
Yes, he did. He looked pretty good. Malik Davis did. He came back to the Cowboys, like you said, on Thursday. Cowboys lose that game 31-21 as if the score really mattered. Who on the field caught your eye that, like, okay, this guy looked good?
I would say I like the linebacker unit a lot for the Dallas Cowboys. I think Buddy Johnson unfortunately got hurt, but I like him. Maris Leofau showed up early in the game. Damone Clark looked good early in the game. You have Darius Harris, who looked really good, number 47 right now. Cowboys fans might not be too familiar with him, but he is somebody who just happens to have 3 Super Bowl rings with his time with the Chiefs. And so, I mean, you talk about some of the experience that these guys have and the investment that they've made. You know, Matt Eberflus, that's his position. You know, he's a heck of a defensive coordinator, but his position group that he specializes in is linebackers. So that's a room that was thin like a mint, and they figured out how to make it one of the deeper position groups in the field.
It kind of felt like Joe Milton was being talked about like he was the next coming of Superman earlier on in the week. Then that kind of started to die down. What do you think we should expect from Milton going forward? What is this, a bad game? Is this what we should expect? What are your thoughts on Milton's performance and going forward?
He just has a lot of growth that he has to have. I mean, I really foresee the Joe Milton situation very much so like Trey Lance. I really don't see a significant difference between the two of them and where Trey Lance was last year and where Joe Milton is this year. Outside of the fact that Joe Milton has a really strong arm, I think they some of the issues that they need to address in their games, I think they share in common in terms of being able to work through your progressions, in terms of staying locked on the receivers and predetermining. I think Joe Milton has to work on his loft and the angle on which his entry point for his balls. I think he has such a powerful arm that he gets caught up really just kind of keeping everything on one plane. Like everything comes out like a little missile, whether that's throwing it to the running backs or whether that's throwing it to a fade route. Like you have to have some air underneath that. And it's challenging for somebody who throws the ball so effortlessly. So those are things in his game that he has to improve on, and he will improve on. People were saying that his game improved over the past few weeks. That is true. I saw it. Significant change in development in his game. He went from throwing balls to the net and missing them in one-on-one drills with the quarterback to all of a sudden, making some high precision throws in the game like you guys saw. It just has to become more consistent for him, and it will.
Schottenheimer talked about having a vanilla, scheme, and vanilla did perform, but just what was something that you really wish you would have gotten more out of, something that you just wanted to kind of perform a little bit better, defense, offense, whatever it be?
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed in the defensive, the run defense. That's something that's been a Achilles heel for the Cowboys for years now. It's something that the front office, and this is where fans get frustrated, they have to understand it holistically. The front office is trying to address it without spending crazy money, right? So they've drafted guys. They drafted 2 guys this year to address it. They picked up 2 more guys in free agency this year to address the interior defensive line. The only 2 guys that you feel comfortable and confident with right now are your starters, and that is Osa Odighizuwa and that is Solomon Thomas. Solomon Thomas just came on the team. So he's somebody who was an offseason acquisition, and he is now your starter. So the depth behind those guys, you really fall upon Mozzie Smith. That's your next man up, and that's a third-year first-round pick that you're still waiting to see show up as a first-rounder. And you are waiting on some of the other younger guys that you brought in. Jay Toyoya, you got Sam Houston, you got Ernest Brown, you have a number, Peyton Turner, Perion Winfrey. There's a bunch of guys that you brought in that all possess the ability to stop the run, and that's kind of their calling card. But we definitely didn't see it show up last night as they ran for 183 yards, and the Rams are not even what we would consider to be a rushing team.
Exactly. We're talking Isaiah Stanback from the CBS 11 broadcast last night, of course, part of the DallasCowboys.com team as well. Just got back in town from on a red eye. From all that wonderful weather in California. And one of the things I wanted to ask you about was I'm looking on the sidelines. None of the starters or anybody who thinks they may be a starter was dressed. They're just wearing shorts and T-shirts and the whole 9 yards. I was wondering, did you hear, was Micah Parsons even at the game?
Oh, yeah, he was on the sideline.
Oh, okay.
He was on the sideline. Yeah, he was incognito on the sideline. He had a little blue sweatsuit on, with Cowboy sweatsuit with the hood on, so nobody can find him. But he was over there hyping up his guys, talking to Donovan Ezeraku. He's still doing all the things. And that's the thing about Micah. It's hard to say anything for anybody to say have a negative opinion on him because he has been present, he has been active, he has been engaging, he has done everything that he's supposed to do as a participant on the team except for practice, and that's because he wants to get his money. So, I mean, Micah has literally checked all the boxes. He's not doing anything to the detriment of the team, and I think that's why he will get the big payday that we're all anticipating.
I do too, and it's the question of when is the deadline. Jerry has a couple of phrases he likes to lean on, and my whole theory about this whole thing is this is his Super Bowl. Jerry is a great negotiator. This is his fun time, and he likes to negotiate. So he likes to say deadlines make deals, and he also says he said, I have a high tolerance for ambiguity, which means he loves the chaos. Everybody else might be stressing out, but he's like, I got this. And I think, I don't think he personally has any grudges against David Mulligetta. He doesn't know Mulligetta. But in Jerry's mind, I truly believe Jerry thinks, I'm looking at this negotiation, I'm going to prove a point to the other NFL owners. This is how you handle the big dog of agents. He's just an agent. I am a big-time owner. I am the guy that negotiates deals with networks and I'm the guy that brought the Rams back to L.A. I'm the guy that got the Raiders to Las Vegas. I'm the guy he's just an agent. So I don't need him. I mean, that's what I think he's trying to do. And Micah, unfortunately, he's just collateral damage. It just happens to be his contract at this time. What are your thoughts on my theory?
Yeah, you know what? It definitely can be that. I also just think that there's and Jerry's kind of not alluded to it, but kind of responded to people's comments on this. There's a pattern. There's a pattern with Mr. Jones' behavior. Everybody has a pattern, right? And Mr. Jones is no different in this regard. You know, you think about how deals have gotten done with some of your most recent superstars. CeeDee Lamb's deal took some time well into camp. Dak Prescott's deal happened on game day. You got Zach Martin, his deal, and I think this is going to be kind of the most comparable to what you're going to see with Micah. His deal took place after the first week of the preseason. So I believe that I anticipate this deal happening this week. That's I have no insight. I have no inside information on that. It's just my feeling, because if I'm Jerry Jones and I have Micah Parsons and he's been training and he's been working with the strength coaches and he's been in meetings and doing walkthroughs and all the things, right, and he's ready to go mentally, now I have to ensure that he's ready physically. And because he hasn't taken any full speed reps, I now am in a position to ensure that he is ready to go for the season. And after the first preseason game, especially when you're kicking things off on Thursday night against the Philadelphia Eagles, now I believe you're down to a 3-week countdown. So I want to make sure that my best player on defense has 3 weeks to ramp up his body at full speed reps in practice with his teammates to make sure that he's ready to kick off that game and get after Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I foresee that deal happening at the first part of this week. At the least, it's going to happen at the end of the week, I would assume, just because Micah needs to start taking reps at practice.
Just in time for Jerry's documentary to come out. Just saying. Timing is everything.
Isaiah, be honest. How worried were you for CeeDee Lamb's back after he got blindsided by that referee?
That was crazy.
You know what? I honestly thought it was hilarious. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, he's a strong dude. He's taking some time to get his body right, so getting hit by a referee is not going to put him down. And I don't even know if he dropped his sunflower seeds. I think he kept those in his hand the whole time.
Yeah. That was funny. And again, there's a penalty on him for blocking the referee because he was looking at the goal route and he was kind of celebrating. He kind of wandered out on the field a little bit. Ref knocked him down trying to look at the play. Bottom line was it was hilarious. And I love the interview that Kyle Youmans had with George Pickens. Y'all had that in the broadcast, and tell everybody what Pickens was saying too.
Yeah, Pickens was laughing. He thought it was hilarious about CD. But those guys have such a brotherhood, man. It's been really cool to watch that. You know, as a former player, I understand when you're premier players, when you're sharing a position group, how important that relationship is, because there's going to be ups and downs. Somebody's going to have a hot hand. Somebody's going to be, quote-unquote, forgotten about. Somebody's got to sacrifice, you know, in terms of some of the route concepts to free up the other guys. So that relationship needs to be tight-knit, and they have really exerted a lot of effort to become essentially brothers, man. And these guys call each other, I think, not CD, but George Pickens calls each other, Mario and Luigi. That's what the term that he used. So I love seeing those guys have their relationship and that continuity, because when you hit those rough spots, man, you got to be able to look at your bro and have a sense of understanding to know that, hey, we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this.
Exactly. And by the way, for those who don't know, you were a quarterback at college, Washington, and you talked about Joe Milton running the ball unnecessarily or not sliding enough. And I wanted to bring that up as well, because you could run, you could throw, you could do a lot of different things. At the same time, I don't know if Joe Milton is going to be ready to be the quote-unquote true backup if Dak were to get hurt. I think Will Grier is going to be on the team, and I think he's going to be like the Chase Daniels, and Dak gets hurt for one game, he'll be the one that slides in there because he's familiar with all things. And at the same time, I could just see them keeping 3. Am I wrong on that, or is there something you saw that I'm not thinking about?
No, you're absolutely correct. I mean, they're definitely going to keep 3 quarterbacks, if I had to guess. I mean, it just makes too much sense. And also, I mean, I mentioned this, kudos to the Cowboys for not bringing in a number of guys that they're not going to retain.
Right.
Like, a lot of teams, we see some teams have 6 quarterbacks on their roster. You know what I mean? The Cowboys only have 3. Yeah, buddy. The Cowboys only have 3, so they're not wasting opportunities for guys at position groups that they might need, looks from guys that they might need, because they're taking up roster spots with extra specialists and extra quarterbacks that aren't going to make the team. So Will Grier is definitely somebody who can make it happen. You know, he brought up Chase Daniels. He had one heck of a career not having to touch the field.
Yep.
So if Will Grier can pull that career off, I think he'll be happy.
And do the stanky leg.
And did the stanky leg. That's right.
Touchdown run. Very nice.
Everybody's going to put the asterisk because it is a preseason game. What is your concern level with the 11 penalties for Schottenheimer's first game?
It's definitely going to get addressed. There was a number of pre-snap penalties, illegal formations, things of that nature, things that are easily correctable. So that's really the positive end of it. They had a holding call, I think of Marquise Bell, I believe it was, that he really protected a touchdown. So that one I'm actually okay with. But overall, I think that everything that we saw on the field are all very correctable things. They weren't behavioral issues. Those are things that you usually get concerned about when you see penalties really hurting to the detriment of the team. So I think there won't be an issue going forward. You should see that number drop off significantly.
All right, man. I appreciate you so much, especially after very little sleep. He is the great Isaiah Stanback. CBS 11 Sports with all the pregame color commentating coverage, as well as DallasCowboys.com. He's a broadcaster who's won Emmy Awards. By the way, I will see you when I see you next. Isaiah, thanks again, buddy.
Appreciate it, fellas. Y'all be good.
You know it.
Thanks, sir.
Get you some sleep. He is the great Isaiah Stanback. And coming up next, fantasy football. You, Khaki Kevin, and you, Trevor the Creator, are all over fantasy football.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not, but I enjoyed the conversation. That's next on 105.3 The Fan.
The more time you give, the more our
remember that Uber Eats has got
Hey, remember when you used to be, what was it, Pepper Lady? Razor blades. No. You just said that. What was it, Spice Girls?
doesn't sound right.
Was it sometimes?
You wouldn't settle for just any lawyer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This segment of 105 Through the Fan is brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first. 214-817-333-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there's never an out-of-pocket cost, and they only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, the go-to car truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
Appreciate you, Trevor the Creator. My bad. Trevor back in the Pimp Cup on the ones and twos. I'm Chris Arnold along with Khaki Kevin Walker. We're here with you. We're here now. Until 1 o'clock.
Live and local.
That's right, live and local. 1 o'clock is when the Texas Rangers versus the Philadelphia Phillies pregame begins. Rangers trying to avoid the sweep at home at Globe Life Field against those Phillies who are very dangerous. We're going to talk some more about some Ranger baseball a little bit later in the show. We are the home of Cowboys, home of the Rangers. We appreciate all the Tolos riding shotgun with us, letting us join you when you do whatever you do on a midday on a Sunday. And I want to say this real quick. I was noticing that Nike had a big ad and a big campaign for Shedeur Sanders when he had that nice game Friday night. And I want to say that he was wearing a certain kind of shoe. Kevin, will we have some khakis kicks coming up?
Yeah.
Got to do that. Do that. So I'm going to ask you about those cleats he was wearing because, man, they were tight.
Oh, yeah.
And at the same time, since we are talking football, fantasy leagues are about to fire up. We're in the middle of it right now. So can we talk some fantasy football, those who participate?
Oh, of course we can talk some fantasy football, Trevor, right? We can talk some fantasy football.
I'm so excited to talk.
Yeah,
I'm just going to sit here and watch.
Football. All right, let's go over to this article that I found from Eric Karabell over on ESPN. Wednesday we did fantasy football do not drafts. This one is a do draft list. We got quarterbacks, we got wide receivers, running backs, and then
did you say don't worry about tight ends Wednesday because nobody's really drafting them anymore?
Yeah. Right, right.
No bang for the buck.
Maybe that might be something that I talk about. I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to go over this article, and then Trevor's got his 5 things that fantasy managers need in their
5 things you should change in your fantasy league. That's more what I think. Things you should change in your fantasy league.
All right. Let's start off with these. It's a couple of names per position. These are fantasy football do drafts. 877-881-1053. It's Frankel text line. Text in anything you need answered fantasy football and your opinions on these names. First one, over in San Fran, starting with the quarterbacks. Brock Purdy makes the ESPN's do draft list.
He's back. He's rich.
He's back, and he is very rich. Trevor Beck, would you draft Brock Purdy on your team?
Absolutely not.
No. All right.
No way.
Okay.
And they're saying do draft him?
So this is going to be hey, look, you're probably in the 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th round, depending on when your quarterbacks start falling. Top quarterbacks are gone. Burrow's gone. Hurts is gone. Mahomes is gone. Whatever else you want to think about as a point stacking, Daniels, whatever have you. Brock Purdy's sitting there and he's staring you in the eye. You haven't picked up your quarterback yet. They're saying Brock Purdy's a pretty good option for a number 1.
Because you can get Dak Prescott later.
And he hasn't. And by the way, Purdy doesn't have Debo anymore to dump it off to.
Who does he have other than George Kittle?
He's got Pearsall. He's got Kittle. Juwan Jennings when he comes back from injury, possibly, maybe. All right, next quarterback. We've got 2 more to get through.
C-Mac, by the way. Mac he don't catch the ball, but he's coming back from injury.
Caleb Williams makes the do draft list.
Ben Johnson's his coach.
He can't hit an wide open net.
He got a new coach. He got the Detroit Lions former head coach.
Potential. I do not want to draft a quarterback on that said potential.
All right, here's what I'll say about the Chicago Bears as a whole. Jacob Ray's listening somewhere and he's getting excited. If I'm a fantasy team, I want some part of the Chicago Bears offense. Give me a running back, give me a wide receiver, give me a tight end. Caleb Williams, if he's there, if he's a second quarterback option, then yes.
Y'all just hating on his fingernail polish.
No.
I could care less about that. I hate on that he can't hit a net. That's what I hate on.
I want some part of the Chicago Bears offense this fantasy football season.
Who's the guy? Was it Colston Love?
Yeah, it's Colston Loveland.
Okay, maybe.
I like Loveland.
Because of what happened with Sam Laporta.
Mm-hmm.
I could see why that's that.
You see him blossoming. Yeah,
exactly. But I don't know if I trust.
Dunze could have a good year.
Well, this I had him as a keeper last year, or I drafted him as a potential keeper because I was like, hey, maybe if it pops off with Caleb Williams, great.
Gentlemen, the 214 says Brock Bowers using him as my keeper this year. Is that a bad idea?
Absolutely not. I drafted Brock Bowers first overall, but my first round of this my draft league this year. Brock Bowers is my tight end for
first.
No, in the first round.
What?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Boy, if you're tight end premium, I think so. Great, but
second round.
Okay, good. That's what I was about to say. I don't know
Amonra was her first round. My apologies.
Tolo in the 940 says, I definitely draft Purdy, not as a stud, but he will be consistently good. Debo will not be missed. Debo is not a good receiver.
I would say he's not a great receiver. He's a good receiver.
He's a dump-off guy.
But I think I agree with the 940. I think Purdy is going to be a guy that gets you consistent points. And if you are sitting there and there's not a lot of quarterbacks available consistent, Brock Purdy could be a good pick. Third quarterback on this list, on the due draft list. Again, this is reading off of a ESPN article. Let's go over to New York.
What?
Justin Fields.
Wait a minute, he's hurt. They carted him off.
Maybe that was.
He's got a COVID part 2. You didn't hear?
I heard, but it's like a toe.
No, listen. If it's legit turf toe,
it's not turf toe.
Okay, it wasn't turf toe.
That's what I thought.
Turf toe is rough.
No,
it was. Dion had that for a while.
That's rough.
Yeah, it was a dislocated toe. Now,
unfortunately, he had to have surgery.
This is the New York media doing their thing, but apparently Justin Fields has looked absolutely awful in training camp this year. So we'll see what happens.
He's got legs. The only thing I will give Justin Fields, he's got legs and he can run. That is a premium at the quarterback position. So when you get like a guy like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen that can run the ball as well as throw well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Justin Fields.
You know why they list Justin Fields in this?
Why?
Because of upside.
Yeah, I was about to say, you get him for free. You can draft him in the last round.
Always the
upside. Get him for free.
Projection.
That's fair.
Okay, now we go over to the running backs. First one on this list. And I definitely agree with this. There's 2 names here. One younger, one older. We'll go with the younger one, Bucky Irving. Do draft Bucky Irving on this list.
Sure. Okay. I mean, I don't think it's a bad pick by any means. Like, that's not, I mean, again, I'm also big on like where you draft guys.
Yeah.
So like, again, I would be frustrated taking Brock Bowers round 1, but round 2, I'm like, hey, if you think tight ends are that important, sure, go right ahead.
Well, especially like I said in my dynasty league. So
back to Bucky. In the words of Backstreet Boys, tell me why. Tell me why.
He's a young guy. He's put together pretty good seasons. Now they say there's an or next to Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs. So you're pairing a vet and Josh Jacobs with a younger guy in Bucky Irving. This is only the second year for Bucky Irving.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of stormed onto the scene last year. But Josh Jacobs, he's got good pedigree. And, we'll see how he keeps doing in Green Bay. But Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving as the and/or for the beginning of this running backs list for due draft. Your thoughts on Josh Jacobs, Trevor?
I think
I like Jacobs.
He's a little old in the tooth. That's my only worry.
Mm-hmm.
But if he can be a primary back, then great. I think that would be phenomenal. But I
27 for Jacobs.
That's what I'm saying. I say once you hit like your second contract and so on, and like I just don't know if teams are going to trust him as much anymore.
972 says Jahmyr Gibbs will be running back number 1 in PPR leagues. Mark my words.
I don't disagree with that whatsoever.
Watch out for Bijan, fellas.
Bijan.
Bijan.
Yeah,
sorry, you're right. You're
Bijan
absolutely
now.
right.
He's
I'm sorry.
changed it.
It's my Texas roots that I could listen to hearing Bijan forever. So Bijan, I apologize.
Okay, next running back in this list, David Montgomery.
Really? He doesn't have his coach anymore.
David Montgomery.
His coach is with the Cowboys now.
Says Detroit Lions co-starter David Montgomery.
Oh, wait a minute. My bad.
Cannot match teammate Jahmyr Gibbs for youth or skills, but don't be so quick in doubting a repeat of his fine numbers.
Yeah, his coach is in Chicago.
He's had 25 rushing touchdowns in the past 2 seasons.
That was with Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm. That's why I am not as high on this. I think most coaches are going to say, "Oh, Gibbs is so good, we're gonna feed him more."
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just don't know if Montgomery can do what he did under the Ben Johnson regime.
While I am concerned for the Lions without being under the Ben Johnson now, I do think that their running game is going to be consistent. Jahmyr Gibbs is in the top 3, and you can argue 3, 2, or 1 running back in the league right now. And they're going to continue that system of Jahmyr Gibbs getting all the yards and making all the plays, and then David Montgomery punching it in.
Montgomery might be just the vulture.
Yeah, that's why I agree with this. Mm-hmm. I do agree with this.
Sure.
By the way, the 2-4 Latrette from Dallas said, "Good morning, fellas. FYI, Justin Fields played yesterday in their preseason debut, and he kind of balled out."
Exactly. New York media, they just be doing too much sometimes. All right, third and final quarterback here in this list. You said that Josh Jacobs was a little long in the tooth. How about Aaron Jones?
I haven't wanted to touch Aaron Jones for a long time.
Okay, good to know.
He's getting long in the tooth, too.
Aaron Jones.
He's good with Aaron Rodgers, but not without him.
And I agree with you. I think Aaron Jones is a guy that you should prop. Aaron Jones would probably be on waiver wire. No, am I crazy to assume that?
Value wise, if you get him in late, sure. I don't think he's going to be in the teens for a pick, but value wise, again, that's also my big thing is value. Where are you going to draft a guy? That's one thing you definitely got to pay attention to.
They say I can see the Vikings aiming to decrease the starter's workload a bit, but come on. This should also result in more efficiency. Jones will see ample volume and catch 50 passes again, making him a borderline RB2.
Again, if we can get him late, I don't think there's a problem, but I'm not touching him.
I think they're attributing it more that he's a pass catching running back.
Which is always great. If you're in a PPR league, go baby, go.
All right. Wrapping up here, we do have the wide receivers. You want to do wide receivers or tight ends real quick? Which one do you want to do?
I would much rather do wide receivers.
Okay, we'll do wide receivers.
There's 3 tight ends that we want to get, and that's it.
Now, this first name, I don't know why anybody wouldn't draft this guy. Puka Nacua. Now, I think what their argument is that you should draft Puka Nacua higher than most people think so. I think people are thinking that Puka might slip a little. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think Puka Nacua has established himself probably top 15 wide receiver in the league at this point.
I think he's established. I think they're just afraid of injuries.
Fair.
So, that's why they would be saying to draft him higher because other people are going to think, oh, he's going to slip.
No more Cooper Kupp either.
Exactly. Take him because he's a great wide receiver. He really is. Yes, you can worry about injuries, but he's a great wide receiver who will help you probably win your league.
Did y'all know his cousin plays for the Cowboys?
Really?
Martis Leofau.
That is his cousin. I did forget. Yeah, that is his cousin.
And even though they didn't play against each other last night because Puka's too good, he's a starter. Leofau showed out.
All right, second wide receiver here is an established veteran, has put together many, many great seasons, but they're saying one more time, put it on for Mike Evans.
I mean, are
we done with the Mike Evans experiment? Or are we still trusting him?
He's bred. He's he's a nice he's a warm blanket. He's a good pair of shoes. He's not phenomenal.
He's comfortable,
but he does his job. He'll get you 1,000 yards, and if you're lucky, he'll catch some touchdowns.
1,000 yards.
A solid guy. I think he's got 10 straight seasons. Of
11.
11, yeah. Which is I think that's an NFL record.
That's a record, yeah.
Yeah. So we want to talk about guy long in the tooth, but he seems to be doing the job. The comfortable, if you need that wide receiver 3, he's your guy.
I had Evans last year. He definitely produced.
Absolutely.
1,000 yards, 11 straight seasons, double-digit touchdowns in 4 of the last 5.
And the way Baker's throwing.
Oh, yeah. By the way, speaking of long in the tooth and guys that are around long in the tooth, what do fantasy leagues do with older players who haven't hooked up with a team yet, but they're probably going to join a team when the season starts, like Amari Cooper?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Does anybody draft are able to draft like that?
You definitely can. I drafted Keenan Allen before he re-signed with the Chargers, and I actually had a guy hit me up the other day. He's like, hey, what do you want for Keenan Allen? So I might get a free draft pick out of that if I wanted to turn that around because I'm in a dynasty league. Yeah, you can draft free agents, and then if they sign with somebody, then you just get them.
I mean, T.O. was available, I think, up until a few years ago. So
I had somebody draft Brady in our leagues.
Yeah, that's right. Again, that's something that can absolutely be done.
All right, final wide receiver here on this due draft list, Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers. Some people are saying a little bit of a sleeper pick. But yeah, Jacoby Myers on the Raiders.
I'm not sleeping on him. I'm snoring on him. I don't want anything to do with Jacoby Myers.
I don't know what it is. I can't get hyped up about Jacoby Myers.
He's again like once you keep talking about potential. I'm tired of talking about potential. He has not reached it, and once you're 35 and you're talking about potential, no thanks.
All right, real quick. Travis Kelce makes this list, and so does Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren for the tight ends that you should draft.
Excellent.
Sure.
They said they got one more good year out of Travis Kelce.
See, fantasy is a sport. Like I said, I don't play fantasy, but this is another reason why the NFL is on lock, and I've said it a million times on the air. It's hard to think a spring football league, a pro league, will ever get any traction because there's only so much bandwidth in your brain. NFL 24/7, 365. We're talking about combines. We're talking about fantasy. We're talking about drafts. We're talking about trades. We're talking about OTAs, training camp, preseason games, let alone the regular season. There are some guys who don't even care about the regular season because they just want the stats and cut to the chase. If your team loses 3 in a row, they want to talk about the draft for the next year. That's why spring football, I feel for you. If you might, because college got it on tap too.
Oh, yeah.
Bottom line,
especially now.
I just bring that up because there's so many angles in the world of sports, including shoe games. Guess what? We're going to talk some khakis, kicks, and not just shoe games in the NFL. How about all the different shoe games? Next on 105.3 The Fan.
I'm Pete Thompson with a Consumer Team alert. Many weather forecasters now say the heat wave will continue into the fall. If your air conditioner is not working properly, get relief today. Call the On Time Experts. They'll come to your home same day. Get your home cool again and give you a stay cool guarantee. Go to theontimeexperts.com now and click the Book Now button.
something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean like your name. No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen. Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut. But that's the hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair. Okay, right.
He's trying to win his 10th game for the season. The money quote, Phillies are 30-13 when they score at least 2 runs on the road this year. We are the home of the Cowboys as well. Cowboys played last night in the preseason opener. We're going to discuss that with beat writer Nick Karras from the 4-Star Telegram at the top of the hour. But I mentioned Khaki Kev, so it must be time for Khaki's Kicks.
The khackiest of the khaki, the one, the only, Mr. Khaki Kevin Walker.
It is time for Khaki's Kicks. I haven't done this in a while, Tolo. So 877-881-1053, the Frankel and Frankel text line. Text in if you don't know the drill. This is Khaki's Kicks. I talk about everything sneakers, everything in the culture of sneakers, how it relates to sports, and sometimes I'll throw in a little sneaker question of the day, and just so happen to have one today. But before we do, Tolos, text in WWW what we wearing today. So we got sneakers, we got flip-flops, we got boat shoes, we got work boots, we got anything you are wearing. Text it in, let me know, be appropriate. Trevor, we'll start with you in the Pimp Cup. What we got on feet today?
Hanes socks.
Hanes.
I'm in my socks right now. I'm not wearing shoes.
No shoes.
I took my shoes off.
Okay, well, what shoes did you have?
They're black Nike SBs. They're low
No, they are. You got it right. They're black Nike SBs.
Yeah, there you go.
CA, you.
I'm wearing sandals, but when I was in Brazil last week, I had never heard about these. These are worldwide, big time. You're in Brazil, you got to get these. They're like Jordans. There's the Jordans of sandals.
Oh, okay.
They're called, what are they called? Havaras?
Havaianas?
Yes, Havaianas.
Yeah.
They even had, what do you call it? They had valet parking out front because that store's so big time, and they had these shoes all over the walls. Inexpensive, flat.
Yeah.
But I had to get a pair just to say I have them.
Havaianas, we sell those at
Havaianas.
we sell those at my store that I work at over at Tyler's. We sell Havaianas and Harimaris. So
what are your thoughts?
I'm actually pretty well known in the flip flop. Havaianas, I would say they're colorful. They're not very known for like their leather. At least the ones that we sell.
They're not leather.
We sell more like the plastic ones. So people who prefer the plastic over the leather, that's what they'll go with.
Look at this picture right here.
On the fan cam right here. Oh, wait, hold on. We're going to see. Let's see. Oh, wow. They got a whole wall of them. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, we don't have that at my store. That'd be cool, though.
It's like George, it's like going to the Nike store.
It is. That is sick. I've never seen that from a flip-flop. All right. On the Twitch and the fan cam, I'm going to hold up my sneaker so that way y'all can see it. Wearing my Jordan 4 military blues. One of my favorite of the collection. I knew I was doing Khakis Kicks today, so I had to bring out the heat for y'all. All right, let's go to the Tolos. Let's see what we got on feet from the Tolos. 817 has Hey Dudes on. So Hey Dudes on for the 972.
Hey Dudes, popular.
CA, can we get a woo-wee from
top of the hour? 10 more minutes.
Paul George PlayStation 5s from the 903. Now, that's a good one. All right, sneaker question of the day. Fellas, I got to talk to you about this. Trevor, you may have heard this. If not, I don't think you were here for this one, CA. There's a store called Kith. Just opened one actually in Dallas not too long ago. Kith is Kith, K-I-T-H. I do not have a lisp. They sell sneakers there. They sell they don't sell sneakers. They sell clothes. They sell a lot of really expensive shirts. It is a higher brand. It is an expensive store. But what they're known for is also selling frozen treats inside.
Really?
Yes, owned and ran by Ronnie Feig. So he'll sell ice cream. They have all kinds of different treats. So you go in there, you get yourself a treat, and you look around and you buy stuff while you're there. I tell you this because I was scrolling through social media. The Shoes Off podcast. They have a couple of sneaker influencers and social media people that I really like to follow that do really good stuff. Seth Fowler and their guys. They were interviewing these guys that own a sneaker store in Philadelphia. We can hold our booze. Called Encanto. And I bring this up because they have the same thing, but they sell coffee. So you go in there, you buy your coffee. You don't even have to come and pick it up. So you go in there, you order your coffee, then they tell you, okay, go look around, go look for some sneakers, and then they make your coffee and they bring it to you. So you drink your coffee while you're looking around at sneakers. So the sneaker question of the day is, if you had a sneaker store, what would you collab that sneaker store with to make it an intriguing,
place,
original
a destination?
Yes.
Yeah, where you can chill or whatever you want to do.
I go in there, I look at my sneakers, and I look at, or I get. So, Tolos, chime in. CA, what you got?
It'd be a sports bar. It'd be flat screens. You'd have cold beers. And it's kind of like some guys do this at barbershops now. You already had a barbershop with a TV in it or whatever, guys. But they will sometimes they'll have some wine there. They'll have some whatever. So just imagine like a sports bar setting, but shoes everywhere. And you know, while you're waiting to try on shoes or whatever, you cocked up at the bar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trevor, did you have a suggestion? I like that one. That's a really good one.
We would serve the finest Cambodian breast milk. It's all the rage.
Ice cream, huh?
Everybody loves the ice cream breast milk.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with breast milk right now because people want it.
See, I think we know who's buying the breast milk off the shelves.
You got Tolos, by the way, texting in on what they're wearing. 214 says Levi blue jeans and some Chelsea boots. 956 says my Texas Rangers. Hey dudes.
All right.
Hashtag go get Rangers.
Let's go get them.
And 817 says black and white PF Flyers Center HI. And let's see, another Tolo says, I got them Reebok Big Hurts on my feet. That's from Woody. And another one, Tolo says, he's 469 says, I'm wearing some khaki Skechers slip-ins.
All righty. 972, a sneaker shop also paired with a full library of classic sports magazines.
Okay.
I like that one. Sneakers and daiquiris from the 214.
Another 214 says whiskey and shoes.
Whiskey and shoes.
Was that Will Chambers? Did he send that one in?
No, he might.
Shot,
He did text
everybody!
in. He did text in a little bit ago. He loved my Chicago Bears fantasy football take, of course. Chelsea
Gross.
boots and cigars.
Boots and cigars, you know?
Okay. Sambas
Cigar
Adidas
bars?
from the 214. I was thinking on this, and I thought, what if you did, and you kind of mentioned it, what if you did like a hair salon in a sneaker store? Kind of combined there.
Mm-hmm.
Go in there, get your hair cut, maybe look around, look for some
barbershop.
sneakers while you're at
there
it.
you go.
Yeah, so I like that idea.
While your friend or your, like, even if you brought your kids or your boy, your nephew, your cousin, your brother, while somebody's getting the shoes, you're getting a haircut.
Yeah, I like that idea. Trevor, did you have anything else that pop up that maybe doesn't require breast milk?
Listen, what's wrong with my idea?
I didn't say there's anything wrong with it. Just, did you have anything else?
I dig the sports bar thing. I think that would
the sports bar thing would be really cool.
I think if you could upscale sports clips, no offense, sports clips, but if you could upscale sports
Random
clips,
stray.
I think that would be well. It's
I got one more.
It'd be nice.
I just thought of another one. You know how you get these pop-up food trucks that show up at like parks and stuff? How about a pop-up shoe store?
All right.
It's in a truck. You just go in.
Yeah. You know, that's, I don't want to say that's how Nike got started, but, you know, the van, that's, you know, that's one of the reasons why they got started. All right, Tolos are blowing it up. I'm glad I brought back Khakis Kicks today.
Texas barbecue and sneakers.
Oh, okay. Hurtado's, you got an idea.
Hey, I'm getting barbecue today now. Like, just, there you go.
Hurtado's, you got an idea right there. I'll help you out. How about a nail salon and a bar from the 214? Well, I mean, we need the shoes there. That's the whole point, is you need the shoes. Lucchese and Levi's from the 682. Air Max 97 OG Metallic Silver from the 512. Man, I love those. Those are such a good-looking shoe. Wear my Jordan 12 Flu Games from the 214. Basketball court and shoes from the 972. So there's a Foot Locker that they just opened over in my part of town in Fort Worth that the Foot Locker has a half court. So that's a good one. All right, well, Tolos, I appreciate y'all for participating. That was a really fun segment. If y'all get any more ideas, at khaki_Kev on all the socials, you can reach me. Khakis Kicks, we appreciate y'all.
All right, appreciate you, Kevin. And coming up next, we're going to go out to Oxnard, catch up with the great Nick Harris, beat writer Fort Worth Star Telegram, talk about them Cowboys and the mess that was the Joe Milton Show. Next on 105.3 The Fan.
It's a must-listen.
Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens?
Who said that? Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
I mean like your name. No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen. Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut, but that's hair on your head.
Driven by our D&M Leasing Studios. Thanks for turning it on and leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan.
A high noon. Ooh, wee. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Chris Arnold along with Keke Kev. We got Trevor, the creator on the ones and twos. Trevor back. Yeah. Certified scuba diver. I can hold my breath underwater a long time. That was for the total of the text. Can I get an ooh wee at the top of the hour? There you go. Got you down. That's a long ooh-wee because this is the final hour of the show. We're going to take you all the way to 1 o'clock, Texas Rangers pregame show. Rangers trying to avoid the sweep against the Philadelphia Phillies over at Globe Life Field. High today's going to be in the hundreds. If you got nothing better to do but you're trying to get out of the house, go to the Rangers game.
Oh, yeah.
It's totally air-conditioned. You never know what might happen again. I can't imagine them losing this game. And we're going to talk about the Rangers a little bit later in the hour, getting you set for the Rangers pregame show. We also the home of the Cowboys. Cowboys played last night. You probably heard the pregame show with Chiafalo and the Beast. I call him the Beast because he never sleeps. Brian brought us. And then you heard the game itself. And then you heard the postgame show with the Willie Bully, Zach Wolchuk, and Brian brought us. Not just a conversation, it's an investigation of what was really going on. We had Isaiah Standback on, who was doing the color for the Cowboys broadcast on CBS 11 with Bill Jones and Kyle Yeomans. And we are glad to have our buddy, our partner in crime, from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. He is their beat writer extraordinaire, the great Nick Harris. Nick Harris, you're still in Oxnard, right?
Yes, I am here for about 4 more days.
I said this because Isaiah Standback, I was assuming he was still out there on the West Coast. He caught a red eye and flew back in, came back to Dallas in this heat at 5 a.m. this morning. And before we talk about last night's game, the first thing I want to ask you is, what's the schedule for today with the Cowboys? Are they off? What's going on out there in Oxnard today?
Yeah, completely off. This is the last off day here in California before the team heads back on Thursday.
All right, Nick, all right. I asked you earlier this week, who were we overhyping and who were we not giving enough attention to? You said Zion Childress. And I just want to give you your props. Zion Childress had a day.
I appreciate that. Yeah, he on that same day at practice, he had a strong day. And then yesterday again at the nickel spot, he tied for the team lead in tackles last night. And the highlight was on a jet sweep. I believe it was to Drake Stoops. And he cut it off in the backfield for a big tackle for loss. I believe that was in the third quarter. But, 48 just keeps showing up at the ball. And he's starting to earn a lot of trust from his coaches, too.
Let's talk about some of the surprises out there. I say surprises because I wasn't expecting anything out of Malik Davis. He just got there, 36 hours before the game? He has been with the Cowboys before in their running back room. Can you talk about what he did? Does it mean anything? Does it kind of raise an eyebrow for that running back by committee in that room? What are your thoughts on him joining the running back room and what it might mean for the rest of those guys?
Yeah, what a cool story, right? Mm-hmm. And like you said, he was on the street 36 hours before the game started, and we didn't even know he was signed. And he walked out to practice on Friday, and we're looking around, and we're like, is that Malik Davis? And we had a PR official come over to the media, and they're like, yeah, we signed Malik Davis. And we're like, okay. Didn't really expect him to get much burn in the preseason game, but as a nature of the injuries that have happened in that position room to Miles Sanders, to Jaden Blue, they added him for depth purposes, and they even gave him some run there late in the game, and he ended up leading the team in rushing, 7 carries, 63 yards. Really cool story to see him put that kind of performance together. And at least I think he's bought at least another week on this roster. We'll see how long he can keep it going, but really cool to see Malik Davis do that. And maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit of Florida Gator love from Brian Schottenheimer there too.
Mingo did not have a great game, had a game of cardio. Holden looked pretty good. What was your takeaways from the receiving corps? Joe Milton had the day that he had, but your takeaways from the receiving corps?
Yeah, on the famous CD referee play, I thought Mingo did a good job of getting open on that one. Milton just couldn't hit him in stride. But certainly, it was kind of a juggled bag, I guess you could say, at the receiver position. I was surprised to see Josh Kelly get a lot of burn before Trayshawn Holden came in the game in the fourth quarter. But then once Holden came in, he had that big gain down the right sideline. He was able to connect with Milton a couple of times and led the team in receiving at the end of the day. I think there's probably going to be a more intentional approach in the second preseason game. Not to say that there wasn't one yesterday. I think it was more so just like, hey, let's throw all these guys out there, get them some burn, get them some experience on the field, and then we'll start figuring out reps on a little bit more consistent basis going into the game against Baltimore. So I think you should expect to see more Trayshawn Holden next week. Brian Schottenheimer said it in his post-game press conference that Holden is moving up the depth chart, so it's good to see for the Oregon product.
Nick Harris, I'm sorry if I'm not a Cowboys know-it-all, but who the hell is Rivaldo Fairweather?
Him?
Yeah, big body tight end out of Auburn, who they got as an undrafted free agent, and that's exactly what he does. Red zone target, and he was able to land a red zone target and a red zone touchdown yesterday from Joe Milton. Got open and was just able to make it happen. What I love from him on his college tape is that he plays like a power forward. Whenever he's in the end zone, he just boxes out guys and goes up and gets it, and it's fun to watch. It's not often that you see it on his college tape, but when you do, it's fun to see.
Nick, I'm sure you guys got a chance to talk to Joe Milton after the game. I heard he gave himself a D-. Can you talk about what everybody was talking about with him after the game, some of his thoughts?
Yeah, he said he was a little too excited in the first quarter, and he said if he had to do it over again, he feels like he would be more prepared to roll out there and hit the ground running. But he said the excitement kind of led to some overthrows there early on and allowed him to, kind of push some things that he didn't necessarily need to. But he said, this was after the game, he's like, if I had to roll back out there right now, I know I would do a better job. So that's good to see. He also battled an elbow injury there in the fourth quarter. Said he hit it on a pad or something at some point in the game. He said he's fine. Brian Schottenheimer said he's fine. If he misses any time at all, it'll probably be a practice or two.
And speaking of quarterbacks, let's talk about Will Grier. I truly believe he's going to be Chase Daniel. I truly believe if Dak Prescott were to get hurt for a game or two, it would be Chase Daniel instead of Joe Milton to hold the thing down and keep trying to win some games. Can you talk about his performance, a little mop-up duty there in the fourth quarter when Joe Milton hurt his elbow?
Yeah, it didn't sound like there was scheduled opportunity for Will Grier, but certainly, when the injury happened there in the fourth quarter, he got thrown into action, and he led the team right down the field for a touchdown drive, and it's exactly what everyone wanted to see out of Will Grier. And then talking to Brian Schottenheimer after the game, Tommy Yarch got the last question in asking about Will Grier, and Schottenheimer was just super complimentary of how he's handled the process and how he's handled camp, because there's even been a couple of practices out here in Oxnard where he hasn't received one team rep. And so, they've been trying to feed Joe Milton as much as possible to get him comfortable in the event that he needs to step in for Dak Prescott during the season. I will contest you there on that 1-point CA. I think if Dak were to go down for one or two games, I think they would turn to Joe Milton before they would to Will Grier. I think it's just more so the investment that they put in to Milton. And I think they like the flashiness a little bit more, even though it's not as consistent.
A lot of people are going to be concerned about the run game, but I'm a little bit more concerned about the Dallas Cowboys defense making Stetson Bennett look like a halfway decent quarterback. What is there to be concerned about this Cowboys defense?
Yeah, there was some. I think there were some positives, and I think there were certainly some negatives to draw from the defensive performance yesterday, specifically in the first quarter. And I think if you take that first quarter out of the game, you probably look at it in a much different lens. I think we all look at it in a much different lens, but nevertheless, it was part of it. I think the big concerns were, looking at guys like Marquise Bell, who, allowed multiple deep crossers over the middle, playing the safety spot. And that's a guy who a couple of years ago was starting at linebacker for a playoff Cowboys team. So it's, that one was a little concerning to see, especially since they brought him back over the offseason and put some investment in him in free agency. The safeties as a whole did not look great. I thought there was a couple of moments by Elijah Clark before he got hurt. And then overall, I think, again, there was some bright spots you could find at defensive tackle. I think Perion Winfrey did a good job. I think there were moments for Jay Toia, but I also think there were bad moments for Jay Toia. It's just kind of a mixed bag whenever you look at the defensive performance as a whole.
Meredith Leofow, he was making some plays.
Oh, man. Talk about hair on fire, and it's beautiful hair at that. Meredith Leofow was all over the place in that first quarter. Probably the only bright spot in that first quarter other than Brian Anger.
Yes. Speaking of Brian Anger, And Butter's butter. Brandon Aubrey was Brandon. Were you surprised that the Shotty didn't just go for it on fourth down more like his counterpart did? Because, again, we know Butter's butter and Anger's going to do what he does. The special teams basically set. Were you surprised they kicked field goals when they didn't necessarily have to because it's a preseason game?
Yeah, I would say more so on that sequence there at the end of the first half.
Mm-hmm.
They let the clock wind down from about give or take 17 seconds. They let it wind down to 3, and then they took their final timeout. I mean, if that was me, obviously proven NFL head coach Nick Harris here, I think I probably would have, taken the timeout there with 17 seconds, taken a couple shots in the end zone. If it doesn't work out, then you can still kick. But, we asked Brian Schottenheimer about that after the game. He's like, look, I was just trying to treat it, like a regular season game. I wanted to make sure that we double dipped with points coming out of the half and then going into the second half. And so I understand that thought process, but I also, if it were me, I'd want to maximize those opportunities at 7 instead of 3.
Nick, I do want to ask you, going forward in, another preseason game, there was a whole slew of players, starters involved that didn't play. Maybe you look at a Kyra Elam, maybe you look at a Osa, or you look at somebody else. Who do you want to get some run in the next preseason game that didn't this game?
That's a good question, man. If it were me, I'd like to see the whole starting offense. Let them roll out there. Let them get a couple of drives under their belts before, week 1 in Philadelphia. I mean, you see so many teams around the league do it. Give Dak Prescott a couple of drives. And, throw Nate Thomas out there for a whole half, just in case that he does have to start in that opening game against Philadelphia. With a new play caller, new offensive system, I think it could really benefit both sides, talking about quarterback and play caller, to have him in his ear for at least a drive or two before, that opening drive on September 4th.
So you're hoping that they play Dak Prescott one of these last 2 games, and probably not the very last games. So many guys trying to make their squads. But that's what you're hoping for. Is there any indication at all that you may see like even more starters this Saturday against the Ravens?
Yeah, keyword hoping. Definitely not.
Exactly.
To see Dak Prescott. Yeah. But I believe you will see more starters on Saturday against Baltimore, namely Tyler Booker. There are 4 teams left to play today in the NFL preseason. 3 of them have not played yet. The Chargers have already played in their Hall of Fame game. And if all of them play their first-round picks, then Tyler Booker will be the only healthy scratch of any first-round pick in the NFL here in this first week of the preseason. So I expect him to get some reps next week, and he's going to need it. He needs those reps before he rolls out there against a really talented Eagles defensive line.
By the way, was Jerry at all talking after a preseason game? Was he talking last night at all, or was he just, jump back in the car and helicopter back to Oxnard?
Yeah, he was not, but granted, he does not typically talk on the road unless there's, something major that happens. I can only really think of 2 instances off the top of my mind, most recently being in Atlanta last year after Dak got hurt. So he doesn't typically talk on the road anyway, but it sounds like he'll talk at some point this week.
Very good.
Nick, I did want to – you're going to be back at practice this week. What are you expecting them to address from this game as far as offense or defense, maybe even special teams? What are you thinking they're going to change and address?
Yeah, I think it's more so consistency, because I think there were bright spots that you can take away and look at, certain plays in a vacuum. And you look at those and you're like, all right, how can we compound those? And, I think about, in the second half from a Joe Milton perspective, whenever he was able to find Trayshawn Holden and was able to find Rivaldo Fairweather in the back of the end zone. That was a pretty solid drive from Milton. So how can he make that more of a consistent thing throughout the entirety of a game? I think if Milton has a consistent game last night, the Cowboys were in a position to win that game late. But they didn't get that out of their QB2. On the defensive side of the ball, it would probably be just more discipline in the run game. There were some times where I feel like guys were out of their lanes, and especially there in the second half when Cody Schrader was looking like Jerome Bettis rolling through the Cowboys defensive line, undrafted guy out of Missouri. But I think with, you look at the first half and they only allowed 3.1 yards per carry, and then you turn it to the second half and it was well over 5 yards. So that's definitely something to clean up going into next week. But I thought it was an encouraging effort there in the first half against guys like Blake Corum and Jarquez Hunter to be able to limit them to 3.1 yards per carry.
Okay, Nick, they're going to break camp end of this week. Give us a preview of what this week's going to look like out there, and when are you guys headed back to Dallas and, as they resume training camp basically at the Star?
Yeah, tomorrow will be no practice. They'll have Schottenheimer availability, coordinators availability, and then on Tuesday they will be back in pads for their padded practice. Wednesday, expecting them to be back in pads as well, and then Thursday it'll be a super light practice, the lightest one that they have here at camp. It'll maybe last about an hour. For all intents and purposes, it's a walkthrough, and then once they break from that practice, they're on the plane about 3 hours later at LAX to head back home, and then Saturday they play against Baltimore at AT&T Stadium.
Nick, are you looking forward to getting back in this Texas heat?
Believe it or not, I think I am.
What?
After about this time every year, like once we get through that first preseason game, I'm like, you know what? I'll take the heat. Just get me home. But it's a blessing to be out here the whole time. It's been a great camp. I thought it was a perfect amount of time to be here this year. Last year we were out here an extra week, and that one definitely dragged out a little bit. But it's been a good camp this year. It's been fun. But yeah, Texas heat. I was born in Texas. I was born to withstand it, so I'm ready to get back from it.
All right, and then how was your debut with your side project that you got going on with the Cross Chop?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Cross Chop podcast. I'm doing it with John Owning of Pro Football Focus. And, we had a great first episode. We've loved the feedback. And for anybody who's, looking to digest a little bit more YouTube Cowboys content this season, me and John are going to be rolling throughout the year. Give us a subscribe on YouTube at Cross Chop Podcast.
That's fantastic. Got to ask you about your dog. You drove out there. When are you driving back, and how's the dog doing?
Yeah, I'm leaving on Wednesday after practice. I'm going to skip the Thursday walkthrough and try to make it back in time for that Baltimore preseason game. But, man, my dog is loving it. I think around this time of the year, he's expecting to be, sweating his, what off, even though he doesn't have it anymore. He was neutered early on. But he's doing well, and he's loving this California weather. I think he's going to be more disappointed in us going back to Texas than I am.
Great stuff as usual, Nick.
Thank
He's
you,
the
Nick.
great Nick Harris, four-star Telegram beat writer. He's out there in Oxnard, headed back later this week. Coming up next, by special request to CA Storage Confidential, where are we going? Well, how about this? Me, the Jonas Brothers, and the Cowboys' Jerry Jones bodyguard on 105.3 The Fan.
Our goal is to be your Buckies of radio.
Hey, remember when you used to be what was it? Pepper Lady. Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it the New Sisters?
Basic Boys.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maiden? No. You said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
In Dallas.
Thanks, Trevor, the creator and the Pimp Cup. Trevor Beck. I'm Chris Arnold, along with Kevin Walker. Khaki Kevin is in the house on this side of the room. And we want to thank all the Tolos again for allowing us to ride shotgun with you and you and you as you do whatever you do on a Sunday, midday. Some Tolos are headed out to Globe Life Field, where the Rangers will try to avoid the sweep at the hands of Philadelphia Phillies. Pre-game show starts at 1 o'clock. We will take you there all the way up until then. And in the meantime, I got a request for some CA Storage Confidential, and I said, you know what? How about the CA Storage Confidential, the time me and the Jonas Brothers and Jerry Jones' bodyguard? Yeah, that's where we go, CA Storage Confidential. Here we go. So check this out. Every Thanksgiving, the Cowboys always have a halftime performance that's like a superstar. Somebody. A couple of years ago it was Dolly Parton. They're always having somebody as a superstar. And the person in charge of getting the talent, acquiring the talent for these halftime shows, by the way, they even had Beyonce and Destiny's Child before, is Charlotte Jones, Jerry's daughter. Well, one year we're on the road in Arizona playing the Cardinals, and Charlotte announces, he said, come on down to the sidelines. So, me and some of the beat writers went down to the sideline. We're going to announce who we've got for our halftime show this year. And we go down to the sidelines, and it's the Jonas Brothers. And they're there. Joe, Nick, and the other one that nobody knows his name. They're there, and they're there with their parents. Now, this was maybe 2009. And Charlotte's all excited. Jonas Brothers, I know who they are from Disney. My kids loved the Jonas Brothers back then.
The other one's name is Kevin.
I can't remember all the Jonas Brothers names because they're not my favorite band. I just know. In fact, I just know like 3 of their songs.
For some reason, I don't know that
It's
much about
Kevin.
him either, but for some reason, I knew it was Kevin.
Well, I found out more because I'm talking to him. First of all, she said, y'all can interview him. So we talked to him about the game. And then I just kind of talked to them about stuff. And I was talking to their dad because he's all proud of them. And he tells me they live in Dallas-Fort Worth. I went, what? And he goes, yeah, we live in Westlake. And by the way, for those who don't know, LT lives in Westlake. Talking about LaDainian Tomlinson. Dez lives out in Westlake. Jason Witten lives in Westlake. Herschel's out there in Westlake. And I went, the Jonas Brothers are out in Westlake. I said, why are you guys like in Dallas-Fort Worth and Westlake? It says it's easy to get around all over the country because we're flying all over around doing these concerts and stuff. And we're looking forward to doing this halftime. So then, later on that Thanksgiving, they do the halftime. I'm still, talk to them after their performance and whatnot. Just say hi, what up? Saw you guys in Arizona, blah, blah, blah. No big deal. And again, I'm not a huge Jonas Brothers guy. I know 3 of their songs, which we'll get into. That's it. By the way, I really appreciate their work, and they're really good, and they're musicians. They play the guitar. They're not just boy band guys, even though they were Disney stars, right? This is where it gets kind of interesting. So all of a sudden, they announce that the Jonas Brothers are going to do a performance 3 nights at AT&T Stadium, and all of them were sold out. It was like, what? They sell out like 3 nights at AT&T Stadium, and this is when it first opened.
Yeah.
And one of the things they were talking about was like the Jonas Brothers were actually, while they were preparing for this concert, they're playing video games on the big screen. The first time anybody was playing video games on that big ass screen at AT&T Stadium.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, this is just really wild. And they say, okay, it's a sellout show. And the opening act, Jordan Sparks. And I know, I've heard of her. In fact, she did that song with Chris Brown, Can't Breathe or Breathe Again. And then I found even more about her. Her dad played for the Arizona Cardinals. I bet y'all didn't know that, did you? Felipe Sparks, cornerback for the Arizona Cardinals. That's his daughter. And she can really, really sing. So that's the opening act. I'm still like, okay, cool for them. I have zero interest in going. Zero. None. Then my wife and my kids approached me. Daddy, we want to go see the Jonas Brothers. And my wife said, Chris, the moms in the neighborhood, they want to know if all the kids can go see. I said, what?
All the kids?
I said, what are you talking about? We just can't go. They got to take their friends in. The parents want to go too. I said, are you kidding me?
How many kids is this?
Can we come up with 18 tickets? I said, are you kidding me? I just started laughing.
18
I was
tickets?
like, I'm serious. I just started laughing. Oh, yeah, right. No, it's 3 nights and it's so there's not even any on the. I said, I'm not paying for 18 tickets. But we figure, you got a relationship with the Cowboys and all the neighborhood, they want to go. I said, no, it's not going to happen. Well, at least try. Now, mind you, I'm not a big Jonas Brothers fan. Right. There might be Tolos right now. They might like the Jonas Brothers, might have heard of Jonas Brothers. I got a couple of Jonas Brothers songs just to get you in the mood of knowing what I'm trying to deal with here. Here is Nick Jonas. I actually really like this song. You heard of Jealous, right? Here's Jealous. All right, Trevor. All right, because that's Nick, and he married some chick from India or Indian American, and it was a big, this is like TMZ kind of stuff. And then there's Joe Jonas, who's also big time. He started when they broke up for him, and he started his own group called DNCE, and they had this really cool song that I like called "Cake by the Ocean." Remember this? Remember Cake by the Ocean?
Oh, yeah.
And Nile Rodgers is the guitar.
I didn't know that this was Joe Jonas, though.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
This is Joe Jonas, and he had like a band. This is when they broke up. And Nick was like doing his solo thing, and then What's the other Jonas Brothers name? I can't remember.
Kevin.
Okay, and then when they got back together again, and they went on this worldwide tour,
not too long ago either.
Yeah, this song called Sucker. I like Sucker.
I'm a sucker for you.
Okay, so imagine this pressure on me. We got the whole damn neighborhood, moms, wanting to go see the Jonas Brothers with their kids, and my wife saying, "Oh yeah, we can make that." Oh yeah, right.
18 tickets is nuts.
So I said, "Okay, I'm not buying 18 tickets. I don't even care if they're on the roof and it's sold out anyway. There's just no way it's going to happen. No way." I said, "Okay, I'll make one phone call. I'm not going to call Jerry, even though just like this. Me and Jerry are cool. I can't even tell you. Me and Jerry go way, way back. Steven, Jerry Jr., Charlotte, all of them. I'm like, but you got to save a favor for a real favor.
That's a real favor.
And I'm like, but that's not my favor. I don't know the whole neighborhood like my wife does.
You got one big ticket. You don't want to use the one big ticket. It's not even something for you.
Jerry, I need you to invest in some kind of thing. That's what I would save it for.
Right.
Not tickets to see the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I know Jerry's bodyguard, Roosevelt Riley. And here's the deal about me and Roosevelt. I've been knowing Roosevelt before he even became Jerry's bodyguard. Me and Roosevelt used to play pickup basketball games at the downtown Y all the time, on the regular. And then one day in the 1990s, Roosevelt shows up on the team plane, on the charter. I'm on the charter since 1983, I believe. And here comes Roosevelt on the plane. I'm like, what are you doing on the plane? Man, I thought you knew I'm Jerry's new bodyguard. What? I didn't even know you knew how to bodyguard. I thought you just played basketball. He said, no, I can bodyguard. And by the way, he's retired now.
Okay.
And he's set for life and all that. And Jerry's got a new bodyguard. But back then, he just retired like 2 or 3 years ago. Back then, he and Jerry, like everywhere Jerry went, Roosevelt's there. And you see him in the background for everything. And Roosevelt, because he goes with Jerry everywhere, whether it's a Cowboys game or not. He's his bodyguard, personal bodyguard, not the team's security. He's Jerry's bodyguard.
Right.
So me and Roosevelt go further back than me and Jerry. And I said, Roosevelt, my wife, I tell him the situation. She told some of the women in the neighborhood and their kids, they want to see the Jonas Brothers. He just started laughing. I said, yeah, I'm not even going to go there. I said, there's just no way, but I have to tell her that I asked so that I can tell her I tried everything there's no way. I said, don't even ask Jerry about it. Just do you think there's a chance? He said, how many tickets you talking about? And I said, 18. And he just really started laughing.
The whole stadium.
Might as well. He said, let me see. I doubt it. Let me see. Then all of a sudden, the next day, he calls me back. He said, Chris, you won't believe this. I got you 18 tickets. I said, what?
No way.
He said, this is really crazy. 18. I said, which night is it? He said, you won't believe this. I got you 18 tickets right next to the stage, on the floor, on the field. I said, what? You're kidding. He said, no. They're actually going to do a full dress rehearsal. And they said, here's like 100 tickets, to Cowboys organization, just 100 tickets, whoever y'all want to come see this, because they want to practice in front of a few people.
Right.
The entire show. The warm-up with Jordan Sparks, and then they're going to perform. And you got tickets right by the stage. I was like, you're kidding me. And it had this, this long ramp that they walk out on and run out on. And, it's not just the stage. It's like it jutted out and all that. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. He goes, oh, yeah. And here's some front row parking passes. I'm like, what? Right next to the AT&T Stadium. I was like, no way. He said, yeah. He said, but don't tell nobody. I said, I'm not going to tell nobody nothing. This is the first time I've ever told anybody that it was Roosevelt that hooked me up. This is so here's the deal. I told Pam, my wife, and my kids, y'all owe me the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
Forever. The rest of your lives. This was the hookup. So we go to the concert, park right next to the building. And again, there's only like 100 people there. So it wasn't like backed up traffic in all directions. Jordan Spark comes out. She does her set. She does Breathe Again or whatever the song she did with Chris Brown. It was awesome. Jonas Brothers come out. They do all the kids run up to the side of the stage. They high five them. And guess who else is there? Miley Cyrus.
Oh, wow.
She's just watching. She's friends with the Jonas Brothers. Might have been dating one of them. I don't know these things because I'm
probably
not.
The Disney connection, if I had to guess.
Probably.
Yeah.
But this is just crazy. So again, boom. That's the Jonas Brothers. That's the first time I was able. And again, I don't ask people for tickets. I've gone to so many concerts over the years since I was, like I said, I've been on the radio since I was 14 years old. And I used to be on the radio in Memphis, and I was DJing and stuff back then. I always said if I wasn't doing sports, I would be a DJ. So I was always working at K104. All the big entertainers, the artists, the celebrities, that all come through K104. So go backstage to the concerts, go to all the concerts free, go to all the games and stuff free. But like I said, this is Jonas Brothers years later. I ain't got no connections like that.
Mm-mm.
But that one time, Roosevelt, I owe you. And there you go. CA Storage Confidential. And by the way, Tolo just texted in the 469 said, hey, CA Storage Confidential, give me some Roosevelt Confidential. Man, Roosevelt got stories.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even go there.
I could only imagine.
Just imagine, like, you hear these podcasts with these retired athletes, former athletes, they got these stories behind the scenes at the games. Man, I think Roosevelt signed an NDA.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. No doubt.
But anyway, there's your CA Stories Confidential, Jonas Brothers style. Next, we're going to talk the Rangers, and you say there's a preseason game that Longhorn fans might be interested in. We go there next on 105.3 The Fan.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation. Call 800-809-5833. 800-809-5833. 800-809-5833.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please.
true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
What?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Thanks, Trevor. Trevor, the creator in the Pimp Cup. Chris Arnold, Khaki Kevin Walker, holding it down all the way till Rangers pregame show at the top of the hour. Rangers trying to avoid a sweep against the Phillies. Cowboys, home of the Cowboys as well. Cowboys lose last night in a preseason debut. Nobody really cared to talk about that game, but there are two NFL preseason games that maybe there's a UT possible angle with Miami.
Possibly. We were looking into it. The Miami Dolphins do play. The Fighting Eric Chia follows. Tua has played. Zach Wilson has played. And there is murmurs that Quinn Ewers could get some action today. So if you're trying to catch a little Texas ties on an NFL Sunday, I guess so, technically, NFL Sunday, then maybe check out the Miami Dolphins, who are on right now the second quarter.
By the way, I'm not dogging the guy, but Tua's got some new veneers. I'm only bringing it up because when he smiles on his press conference, he looks like Rex Ryan. It's like, those teeth are too perfect and white. I'm not mad at him, but man, yellow him down. Have a cup of coffee.
Have a cup of coffee.
Man. Just a little bit too much. All right. Enough about the football. We got to talk a little baseball. And a shout out again to all the Tolos heading out to Globe Life Field. I've said it a number of times, even before the Rangers even won a World Series. When they built Globe Life Field and they put the roof on the thing, if you got a 100-degree day like today and you got nothing better to do and you don't want to be stuck in the house, go to a Ranger game. First of all, the Rangers are in contention for a wild card spot this year. But you'll be in the air conditioning. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. And it'll be worth it. And a shout out again to all the Ranger employees, staff, people work at Globe Life Field who Tolo, the ones out in the parking lot in that hot heat. Appreciate y'all so much. And the Rangers, again, are trying to avoid a sweep. They lose to the Phillies again yesterday, even though it was their third straight home loss. And even though it was Jacob deGrom's third loss in a row. Yeah. By the way, he hadn't done that in 6 years. He has not lost 3 games in a row in 6 years. His mechanics are fine. He looked like DeGrom again, but the bats weren't there.
I would just say he had 8 strikeouts, gave up 6 hits, 3 runs. It's a tough day for Jacob deGrom, but this is a hard lineup. We're not going to sit here and pretend the Philadelphia Phillies aren't, some scrubs.
They got a slugger, man. 41 homers.
I think Fred said yesterday they might be in one of the favorites, to make the World Series. They're definitely up there for playoff contention. The Philadelphia Phillies are a really good team. Let me go ahead and, just for those tuning in or who didn't hear it when we talked about it last time, the lineup for today's game. You got Josh Smith leading off, so it goes Smith, Seager, Simeon for your top 3. Peterson in the 4th spot, Garcia batting cleanup, Langford, Tellez, Young, and Higashioka rounding it out with Patrick Corbin on the bump, and you're facing Zach Wheeler, one of the best in the game.
All right, the Rangers were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position after Langford hit that first inning single. But here's the thing that's so sad, unfortunately for the Rangers overall. And by the way, I mentioned this little bullet point about the Phillies and how good they are, especially on the road. If they score 2 or more runs on the road this year, the Phillies are 30-0.
So we just need to hold them to 1 run. That's what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
All right, Corbin, you know what you got to do then.
Yeah, Corbin's on the mound. The thing that's so sad about the Rangers offense this year, and you can't trust it, even though they've shown some life, since the trade deadline, the whole 9 yards, but they can't seem to move the needle. All right. Their offense is bottom 5 against left-handers.
Yeah.
3rd worst in baseball. With runners in scoring position, tied for 5th worst in baseball. Win behind in games, 3rd worst in baseball. They just struggle. And just when you think they get it right, they just struggle. So again, that wasn't Jacob deGrom's fault. That was the bats that let him down. And hopefully, they'll find the sweet spot again. Finally, maybe they'll find the right combination.
Yeah, I mean, you give up 3 runs to a very dominant, pretty good Philadelphia Phillies team. You have a pretty good offensive performance. There's no reason that the Rangers could have won yesterday, at least.
Here's what's so crazy as well about the Rangers. Baseball is a talking sport, and it's all about the numbers. This is the 18th time this season where the Rangers have allowed 3 or fewer runs and still lost the damn game. It's terrible, Kenny. It's terrible, Kenny. It's just terrible.
9-7-2, DeGrom dominated the Phils through 6 or 7 with a one run lead, and it was actually the bottom of the Philly lineup they finally got to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, he's still trying to get right. He basically was right, but again, he's not Evo. Nobody is Evo.
Oh, no. Nobody's Evo. Yeah, take notes, MLB beat writers. Evo needs to be in the Cy Young contention.
Wasn't it a matter of some numbers, a couple of batters?
He needs some innings pitched.
He's off 6 innings.
That's what it is, 6 innings. It's 6 innings. It's not that they're hating on him and sleeping on him. Zach Wheeler's going to be on the mound for the Phillies. He's 9-5, 2.64 ERA, trying to get his 10th win of the season, his 5th consecutive season with the Phillies in the series finale. You follow what I'm saying? So he usually closes the series, and there he is. Patrick Corbin, 6-7 with a 3.91 ERA. Ranger fans, I've said this a little earlier in the show. Just remember, the way to ride out a roller coaster season is you've got to be able to compartmentalize things. When they lose, you got to say, okay, be mad that day, shake it off. Next day as a new day. If they win, be happy that one day, shake it off, and then get ready for the next game. It's real simple. It's hard to do. And, of course, it's kind of hard. This is football country. Texas is football country. And you're used to 17 games, or you're used to 11 games, or whatever it is. You're used to having an emotional high and low on a football season where you can be mad for a whole week. It don't work that way in baseball. That's why when come playoff time, everything is just gut-wrenching. Anything, because twists and turns.
Yeah, you talked about the playoffs. Rangers are 5.5 out of first in the AL West, 2.5 out of that wild card spot.
One other note, the Yankees are playing the Astros. The Astros beat the Yankees again. I think they beat them 2 out of 3 times. What you want to hope for if you're a Rangers fan is that the Yankees beat the Astros. You follow me?
Yeah.
Because the Yankees are in the wild card situation, and you want them to kind of fall down a little bit.
Astros are beating them right now 1-0, bottom of the first.
You want the Astros to beat the Yankees because guess what? You still have 4 games against the Astros.
Yeah, they hold that final spot right now.
And again, it's not out of the question that the Rangers could still possibly win the division because, again, even though they have problems in Seattle, they lead the series against Seattle head to head. For those who can't quite remember this, when it came down to going to the World Series 2 years ago, 2023, the Rangers and Astros going back and forth, although the Rangers were winning the division most of the summer. You get down to this final weekend in Seattle, all the Rangers had to do was win 1 game in Seattle to wrap it up. And they didn't. They lost the final game of the regular season. Thus, they had the exact same record as the Astros. The Astros won because of the head-to-head matchup. Astros were going crazy. Astro fans were talking trash. Ranger fans were like, oh my God, tumping over the bandwagon, trying to swan dive off that thing. Rangers on that long flight from Seattle to Tampa to come to Jesus meeting, the thinking within themselves. Some of them had to drink it off their minds. You know what I'm saying? And then they hit the ground against Tampa Bay, took care of them, took care of Baltimore, took care of the Astros. And by the way, always remember this. If they have to play the Astros in any kind of playoff scenario, as much as the Astros play well up at Globe Life Field, Rangers own them down there in Houston.
Yeah.
And Adolis Garcia is the main guy who owns that park.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that.
Owns that franchise.
Owns that franchise. Rangers right now are 60-58. The Phillies are 67-49. Another side note, but since I should mention like baseball and football, whatever, Bryce Harper, low-key, Cowboys fan. Just saying. He doesn't talk about that loud in Philadelphia, especially since the Eagles won a Super Bowl, but he is a Cowboys fan.
Is he because he's not from here, is he?
No, I think he's from Las Vegas.
Yeah, so okay.
But yeah, like I said, he's neutral. But
hey, everyone's a Cowboys fan. And
he was talking about it loud and proud when he's playing for the Nationals. Well, then, he signs with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Like, hey, we're going to need you
You can't really talk about that much.
Yeah, you can't talk
So
about
what do you think, who's going to homer this game?
Homer pick. Give me, because I already picked Jock. I'm not going to stick with that. I'll go with...
Jack Peterson, is that who you picked before?
Yeah, I've picked Peterson in the past. Let's go Wyatt Langford.
Who do you like, Trevor? Home run.
I want to see Wyatt Langford hit a home run. I really am. I'm tired of talking about the positivity of Wyatt Langford without seeing the positivity
results?
of Wyatt. I need it.
You tired of projection.
I need it.
You want to see some results?
Hey, I mean, you and I called it last time. We called Adolis last time,
Sure
so
did.
I'm feeling.
I'm calling Adolis again. That's where I'm going with it.
Let's go.
I'm calling Adolis. I even called the final score correctly.
Adolis and Wyatt. Do we want to do final scores real quick?
The final score will be Rangers 3, Phillies 1.
Oh, I like that thinking. I'm going to second that. 3-1. I like that.
Trevor?
I think we're gonna turn it on. I'm gonna say 7-5 Rangers.
Look out! It's gonna be a show.
Did you not hear
out
the
there.
man? He said if they score 2 runs, they're gonna win.
Well, this one we're gonna score
On the
7
road.
then.
Okay.
We'll find out. And again, we advise all Ranger fans to tune in. And if you're not tuning in, be at the park because it's going to be fun. Rangers and Phillies next on 105.3 The Fan.
Take us with you wherever you go. Now heard on the iHeartRadio app, YouTube, Twitch, the TuneIn app, our Odyssey app, and of course with the biggest mother of a radio signal in DFW. Thanks for making your favorite travel buddy 105.